hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. And we now have the option of joining the channel as a member. You can click join on the link below and you will get a few little perks, bonuses, and benefits, such as the opportunity to use emojis in the live chat, but also potentially exclusive footage for your members only. Anyway, women's final. Wow, wow, wow. It lived up to the hype and the expectations. Sometimes these events don't, but this one undoubtedly did. Won in 3 sets by Aryna Sabalenka. She wins her first Grand Slam title. I've got little goose pimples as I say it because she's been knocking at the door for a few years now, winning Masters 1000s, getting to Grand Slam semifinals such as Wimbledon, such as the US Open in the past, but not being able to go over that line, so to speak, twice at the US Open, I believe. But finally, she did so today. But boy, was she made to work for it by Elena Rybakina. And boy, did it, on occasions she make things a little bit difficult for herself in that final game. Regarding the final as a whole, and then I'll go through it bit by bit, for me, it's the best final on the women's side we've had for a couple of years, at least since the French Open of 2021, in my opinion, the final between Pavlyuchenkova and Krejcikova. And arguably, in terms of quality, we'd probably even have to go back to maybe even the US Open final of 2020, perhaps between Osaka and Azarenka, but definitely it beats hands down any final that we had last year. We only had one 3-set final last year, and that was at Wimbledon, and I think it was a good final and probably the best final of last year, but this one was the tops, the absolute tops. It had quality. It had twists and turns and drama, and it had also the story of one of the two players never having won a Grand Slam before, and you never know whether the opportunity is going to arise again. You just don't know. And I do think, had she not won it, especially trying to serve for it, this could have become a thing. Now she's got one, by the way. Now she's got a slam title, Aryna Sabalenka. To be honest with you, the sky's the limit. She could go on and win 2, 3, 4, or 5. And I think now it could be just one of those situations of breaking through the barrier. I remember, and I'm going off at a tangent here, I remember Michael Schumacher knocking at the door for Ferrari year after year after year. And it was so tantalizingly close. And so many times, there'd be mistakes from Michael. There would be mistakes from the team. There'd be incidents going on. And it just wasn't happening for one reason or another. Once they went through the barrier, oh boy, it became 5 years, 6 years of domination. I'm not predicting the same for Aryna Sabalenka, but I do think now she's got through it, she may well go on to win many more. Had she not won one, I think she could well have finished on 0 had she not won today. For example, I can see some comments in the live chat. Brian, great to see you on board. I will address these at the end. So I'll just put this little thing up there for you anyway. But I will address some of these points alone. By the way, James, nice to see you as well. Hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. And feel free, by the way, to send in a super chat to help support the channel. Listen, let's get some tweets up on the screen for you to give you a little bit of a flavor as to some of the things that went down today. I love this response here from Aryna. She sent,
something is better, something is worse. Of course, when Rafael arrived in the ATP Tour, he was really young. He was 16 years old, and of course, he was not well done in this moment. Then, during many years, he improved. When you watch the first Rafael Nadal in Roland Garros, is not the same than the Rafael Nadal in 2008 or in 2010. I think the best player was in this moment, 2008, 2010, because he was young, he has power, he has a good decision. Something is better, something is worse. Of course, when Rafael arrived in the ATP Tour, he was really young. He was 16 years old, and of course he was not well done in this moment. Then during many years he improved. When you watch the first Rafael Nadal in Roland Garros, is not the same than the Rafael Nadal in 2008 or in 2010. I think the best player was in this moment, 2008, 2010, because he was young, he has power, he has a good decision. Something is better, something is worse. Of course, when Rafael arrived in the ATP Tour, he was really young. He was 16 years old, and of course, he was not well done in this moment. Then, during many years, he improved. When you watch the first Rafael Nadal in Roland Garros, is not the same than the Rafael Nadal in 2008 or in 2010. I think the best player was in this moment, 2008, 2010, because he was young, he has power, he has a good decision. Something is better, something is worse. Of course, when Rafael arrived in the ATP Tour, he was really young. He was 16 years old, and of course, he was not well done in this moment. Then, during many years, he improved. When you watch the first Rafael Nadal in Roland Garros, is not the same than the Rafael Nadal in 2008 or in 2010. I think the best player was in this moment, 2008, 2010, because he was young, he has power, he has a good decision. Something is better, something is worse. Of course, when Rafael arrived in the ATP Tour, he was really young. He was 16 years old, and of course, he was not well done in this moment. Then, during many years, he improved. When you watch the first Rafael Nadal in Roland Garros, is not the same than the Rafael Nadal in 2008 or in 2010. I think the best player was in this moment, 2008, 2010, because he was young, he has power, he has a good decision. Something is better, something is worse. Of course, when Rafael arrived in the ATP Tour, he was really young. He was 16 years old, and of course, he was not well done in this moment. Then, during many years, he improved. When you watch the first Rafael Nadal in Roland Garros, is not the same than the Rafael Nadal in 2008 or in 2010. I think the best player was in this moment, 2008, 2010, because he was young, he has power, he has a good decision. Something is better, something is worse. Of course, when Rafael arrived in the ATP Tour, he was really young. He was 16 years old, and of course, he was not well done in this moment. Then, during many years, he improved. When you watch the first Rafael Nadal in Roland Garros, is not the same than the Rafael Nadal in 2008 or in 2010. I think the best player was in this moment, 2008, 2010, because he was young, he has power, he has a good decision. Something is better, something is worse. Of course, when Rafael arrived in the ATP Tour, he was really young.
There were with the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports, that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know whether what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than that I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah.
And first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is, I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing,
mm-hmm.
but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second, every lap, like in this unbelievable groove.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it. It's like no hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. and the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you. And that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. It definitely does. With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport, but secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another teammate and you cannot call for it, if you like, but there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again, in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for an hour. And they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again, and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think the best players in the world just use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them. Yeah. So for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know what whether that what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than that I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah.
And first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct, And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest, because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is,
yeah,
I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing, but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second every lap, like in this unbelievable groove. But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it, right? No hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you. And that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. It definitely does. With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
you're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know what whether that what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than that I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah,
and first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is, I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing,
mm-hmm.
but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second every lap, like in this unbelievable groove.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it, right? No hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you. And that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. It definitely does. With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point, and if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again, and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know whether what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than that I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah.
And first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players, the other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is,
yeah,
I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing,
mm-hmm.
but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second, every lap, like in this unbelievable groove.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it. It's like no hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you. And that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. It definitely does. With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again and you're feeling very tight and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them. Yeah. So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what whether that what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than that I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah, and
first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is, I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing,
mm-hmm.
but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second, every lap, like in this unbelievable groove.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it. It's like no hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you, and that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. It definitely does. With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport, but secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another teammate and you cannot call for it, if you like, but there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again, in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for an hour. And they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again, and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think the best players in the world just use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them. Yeah. So for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know what whether that what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than that I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah.
And first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players, the other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is, I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing, but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second every lap, like in this unbelievable groove. But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it, right? No hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you. And that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. It definitely does. With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport, but secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another teammate and you cannot call for it, if you like, but there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again, in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for an hour. And they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again, and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think the best players in the world just use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them. Yeah. So for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know what whether that what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than that I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah.
And first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's.
Ready? Play. Ready? Play.
Good.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hello, everybody. How we doing?
Can you hear me, James?
I can hear you, Sherry. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. How are you doing?
Perfect. I am doing good. Are you looking forward to this contest as much as
Absolutely.
as much as I am?
I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think it will be.
Do you?
I do. Yeah, even though it's 4-0 for Alcaraz, I think people are overlooking the fact that I would say 2 or say 2.5 if you want to include the first set of their Miami clash. Matches were pretty close, especially the US Open ones. I mean, just it's a matter of few shots or a couple of points, and that's Tsitsipas's match. And of course, they also had a battle in Barcelona last year. Of course, their match this year was pretty one-sided, probably the most one-sided clash they've had. But nonetheless, I still do think that the conditions here at RG probably, at least historically at the moment, favor Tsitsipas more than they do Alcaraz. So I think for that reason alone, I see Tsitsipas giving a much bigger fight. 4 or 5 sets is what I think. Very unlikely that the match. One thing to note, however, is that if this were a day match, I'd give Tsitsipas more of a chance because he can get a lot out of his serve with faster conditions during the day. But then that is sort of not there for Tsitsipas at this moment, considering how slow the conditions are going to be. So I guess it depends on whether or not Alcaraz himself if he's constructing the points well and if he's patient enough. I think he will be, but I still think that this will be a pretty closely contested match.
Interesting. I've kind of got almost like the polar opposite view. I kind of feel as though Alcaraz will probably. I think steamroll's probably the bad word. I think the result from the Barcelona final only a couple of months prior kind of to me sets the seeds of what I think we're going to expect in this match. I think Alcaraz will be clinical at the right moments to be able to take to take his chances, to be able to get the breaks required in each of the sets. I don't see Tsitsipas being able to bring the level needed to really tackle Alcaraz. It feels as though Alcaraz has the game in a position in which he can dominate the likes of Tsitsipas. I mean, we've seen it from the fact of course, the Barcelona result last year, and also the Barcelona result this year, and then also the Miami result from last year as well. That sort of game, and especially given the sort of lapses in mental concentration we've seen from Tsitsipas at points during this tournament already, to me dictates that I believe this will probably be a free setter. I know everybody watching will not be happy to hear that.
It's true.
It
could happen.
Match tie breaks and all the good stuff that comes between a clash between two. I believe Tsitsipas is still in the top 5 of the world. Yeah, he's still in the top 5 in the world, isn't he? 2 top 5 players of their current time. But I have been impressed that Tsitsipas has been able to at least navigate himself through the draw this time around. I mean, I think it helps the fact that the pressure that he had on him last year led to the situation of him losing to Rune, and also Rune being such a bright up and comer who was really wishing to make a big name of himself. It was almost as if Tsitsipas was in that perfect zone to really sort of be hammered and become that big scout for Rune. But I think given the fact that the pressure to get to the final that was with Tsitsipas because of his draw, because of what happened the year before, it's no longer there. That has helped Tsitsipas now to get through the current players that he's played off against, and he's played some pretty good clay courses and seen them off. Granted, he's got the likes of Offner like he did in the last round. That's a bit of draw luck. That's where people have helped. That's where other people in the draw helped him in that scenario. But I still think, given the mental strength we've seen from Charlie, that it could put it to me. It's going to be. I would be surprised if Carlos doesn't win this, and to be honest, I'd be surprised if he ends up dropping a set. There you go. That's my take.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's always good to have, I guess, different opinions on what the outcome is going to be, so it just makes it more interesting to watch. You don't want everybody to have the same opinions to what happens all the time. But I think I do think Alcaraz wins this. I just think probably 4 sets is what I'm looking at. I do think there are going to be a couple of tight sets. I want to say something similar to how Nadal beat Djokovic last year, probably.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm looking at. But of course, Alcaraz is the favorite for all of the reasons that are right in front of us. Of course, the head-to-head being one of them. That's definitely a mental advantage. Because it's not like...
Just to remind everyone that's watching, the reason why it's a 4-love head-to-head. So the first time they met was in 2021. That was at the US Open, and that was sort of Alcaraz's big breakthrough onto the international scene, where he beat Stefanos Tsitsipas in the 3rd round. In 5 sets in a very close court contest on that one. It was it was 7-6, 7-5 in a last set tiebreaker to decide that match. But then from that, Alcaraz really has shown some domination. They then met a few months later in 2022 at the Masters event in Miami, where I think people can remember that. It was almost like the night session match that should have been on the centre court, which actually ended up on grandstand, where Alcaraz won 7-5, 6-3. And then they met a couple of months later, or a month later in Barcelona at the quarterfinals. Alcaraz winning that 6-4, 7-5, or 6-4, 5-7, 6-2. And then, of course, they met almost exactly a year later, just not the same round later, in Barcelona again in the final, with Alcaraz winning 6-3, 6-4 in a pretty, routine victory for a final. So that's just to give everyone an idea of how Alcaraz has this 4-love lead over Stefanos.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention their US Open clash. Tsitsipas was first down 6-3, 3-love. And he mounts a comeback. He wins the second set 6-4. He is up 2 breaks in the third. Has 2 or 3 set points on his racket with 2 breaks. Ends up losing that in a tiebreaker. Bagels Alcaraz in the 4th set. And then, of course, the 5th set was really close. I think both players were pretty comfortable on serve, but then Alcaraz was just more clutch and more brave in the tiebreaker. Pummeling a forehand inside out winner. And that's sort of his trademark shot, I would say.
I think we can already see what Ghost thinks in the chat. He certainly thinks Carlitos is going to apparently cream Tsitsipas. That is one whatever that is. I'm terrible with pronunciations. I won't even try and attempt that. But yes, so we've got in for a fun contest. We can see that at the moment both players at least walked out onto court. They've done the little introductory type thing. By the way, excuse everyone for the light on my face. The sunlight is starting to go down, and then it's getting good decent light or natural light. There's the sun coming out my window, so I've got some weird blind things. But it will go. I don't know, I've got a weird sort of either in prison or whatever. I'm not. I think I'm sure you all are on that one. It'd be good as well. I know we've got Ghost's prediction in the chat. If we could get anyone else as well who was watching the live stream, please do put your predictions in the chat as well. It'd be excellent to see there, as we have a report popping through onto our screen from Jamie, who is currently at the Surbiton Trophy which is the first grass court event of the season, or at least that's what we've seen as the official grass court event of the season. Granted, it's not a main draw event. That will take place next week. And he says that Dan Evans, in response to Katie Boulter saying British women's tennis is in a good place. If you look at the support people have taken over the years, they are in a difficult position to say bad things. The rankings don't lie. I think that's more in response to the fact that the support Katie Boulter has probably received from the LTA, which is the Lawn Tennis Association here in Britain, meanwhile, over the recent years. Meanwhile, she's not necessarily made any inroads. She's had a few good results here or there, especially in the grass court season. I think many people could remember last year where she, in the space of 2 weeks, she beat Pliskova, the wrong words. Caroline Pliskova, twice, once at Eastbourne and then the other time at Wimbledon itself. But of course, there was a big story that came out of Surbiton today, or at least I see it as a big story, which is the 16-year-old Isabel Lacey, who's ranked the lowest ranked player in the draw, around about 800 or so, got her first top 100 win, beating Madison Brengle in 3 sets, which was an epic win for somebody so young. I know we like to look to the youngsters, especially in the women's draw, with things such as the Fruvertova sisters, as well as the Andreeva sisters as well, with how young and how well they're doing, and there's potential there could be a British name putting herself in the hat as well. But it's, if anyone is able to go to Surbiton, I was lucky enough to go to Surbiton on Sunday. It was a free ticket. Excellent. I always love free stuff, me. So free ticket. Absolutely brilliant to see grass court tennis in action. Unfortunately, Liam Brody lost, and I know we've got a great relation with the coach of Liam Brody on this channel, but I'm lucky enough to be able to go to Surbiton on Friday for the quarterfinals, and I'm really hoping that Andy Murray wins his match tomorrow, so I can at least see Andy Murray again. As we don't know how often we're going to be able to see the man, the myth, the legend himself, and of course Ilya Ivanchuk managed to get a win as well, which is pretty good. Sorry, I know it's a bit. Sorry, it's a bit of a plug.
All good.
I love the
grass. The players are just warming up at the moment, so
yeah.
It's just and we did do a decent enough preview for the match. But yeah, I don't know how many people have this opinion, but I do actually very much like the night sessions here on Chatrier and Longren as well. I just think they just have a much better ambience and feel to these matches than, and that's also a reason why I think we had Novak playing all of his matches on Chatrier this year, because usually he would play at least, most of these top players play at least one match on Suzanne Longren. You had Novak playing all of his matches on Chatrier. I guess the night slot definitely helps.
Just
questionable scheduling decisions sometimes, I would say, but
I think that the night schedule, as a principle, I fully support it, and I think people remember I wrote an article in Popcorn Tennis defending night sessions, because there was a point, I think it was around about Madrid, where a few people in the mainstream media were dissing night sessions, saying why do they exist? But they work because they are able to bring in people who work during the week, people we want to bring in, and people other sports can bring in because they have matches at night, and they're able to allow people to at least have an experience, if it's either on TV or to be able to go to the stadiums themselves if they live locally, to experience tennis during the week and have it as more of a part of their life. I do believe that unfortunately the French Open has played around in a funny manner, is the best way I can describe it, with night sessions. I do believe they're too late for the French crowd. I don't think you should be starting a match at 8:15 at night. In reality, it's not going to start. We look at the time now. It's 7:30 in the UK, but it's 8:30 in France. That's too late realistically to start, especially a 5-set match. This will probably. I know I can't stay for the entirety of this broadcast, which is a real shame. But this is probably going to go right late into the night, probably to around about possibly even turning into tomorrow. And there needs to be a better way of actually timing this. Preferably the 7 o'clock start should be more seen as a starting point in the country that it's located in. So somewhere like France, it should be at 7 o'clock. And we've come on to the fact of the women not really being included until a couple of days ago, where they put Sabalenka in what felt like a best way to describe it, a token effort by the tournament to show that it wasn't just going to do what it did. But the issue was that there was a massive ticket resale from that, because people saw the fact that for the whole week prior and what happened last year, the vast majority of the matches, barring one, was a men's match. They then had a situation where they got given a women's match, and they felt like it was an unfairly assessment, like it was a bait and switch. They were given something they weren't expecting, and then did the resale. I'm really pleased that the images that came out of that Sabalenka Sloane Stephens match were of people that snapped up the tickets pretty quickly, and there were really full crowds. That was excellent to see by the end. And it was good that both players did their best to actually really, and it was a shame they had to become the almost the bastion bearers for the women's game with that match to really justify its inclusion, even in the tournament. It felt like at points, but they did a fantastic job at showing off the key attributes of how the women's game can work. So it's it's a shame that we're probably not going to get any more women's matches at night. There needs to be a situation in the future of how they can be included more often, even if you're going to offer like a men's match and a women's match generally in a night session ticket. That tends to be the best way of working it, and finding a good time to be able to start that so that everyone gets what the players are treated fairly and the fans are treated fairly as well. Sorry, a little bit of a rant there, sure. I don't mean to rant or go. Well, it's funny my name thing now. Then it's rant. Off you go.
Right.
Oh, it started. Shoot.
Yeah. I just don't know if our streams are in sync. So, is the first point completed for you, or?
Has now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, same here. All right.
Excellent. Okay, so we're in the same thing now.
Oh, it's completed now. Okay, I'm behind by a few seconds. I think should be fine.
I think I've got Discovery, and unfortunately Discovery Plus. Not to diss it. I'm not always talking about down, as I'm always up for the uppers. Is very slow in terms of what's happening in real life to what's being streamed. Tsitsipas, good serve down the middle tee. That was a very good serve down the middle tee. Get a lovely view of the sunlit second tier. It's a very good sight in tennis. That the Philippe Chatrier in the heavens.
Yeah, I mean, he would have to serve like this pretty much throughout the match. All right, at close to that level.
Yeah, so we've got 30-15 at the moment to Tsitsipas.
Was that a backhand winner from Tsitsipas? As rare as
it was a good backhand winner, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I just wonder why he went for the single-handed backhand, really, because it looks like a really forced shot for me.
All I can think about is that maybe when he was younger, it felt like the most natural shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I can think about. Is he does another serve up the tee, this time on the ad side. That's a pretty good service game. Tsitsipas really laying the marker down pretty quickly there. Good one there. So Charlie is.
That's 3 aces and a backhand winner.
Backhand winner. I think, like I was saying, so I think that all I can think about the reason why he would have chose it would have been it must have felt the most natural shot for him to hit when he was younger, and he's just ended up sticking with it, and then it ends up getting to a situation where once you've embedded on that sort of technique in your tennis, motions, you can't necessarily then unhinge it and start sticking to.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, his backhand was, for what it's worth, pretty good when he was I want to say teenager. I mean, when I first watched him was Rotterdam 2017. His first ever match was against Tsonga. He lost 10 straight sets, but his backhand was, his standout shot. But then years progressed, and his forehand was the one that was far more potent, and just the backhand just kept regressing as much as the forehand.
Yeah, he's just not
getting stronger.
I know, and it's like a worst kept secret in tennis, but it just hasn't improved.
Yeah, it hasn't, and I think he is confident in his strengths enough to feel like, okay, I don't necessarily have to improve on my backhand, but then he can obviously implement the slice a lot better, work on his backhand better too, because everything else, the backhand defense is that one shot that's being exploited. If you look at most of his head-to-heads against the best ever players, are the best players at the moment.
That was a brilliant bit of defence there by Tsitsipas as well, just to cut in. Alcaraz was on top of that point throughout. Tsitsipas sticks it on a brilliant lob that goes right to the baseline, neutralises the point, and Alcaraz is there flailing to try and on the return.
Yeah, I think something to do with the balls, especially so early on, because I've seen a lot of players misjudge, those bounce smashes. Dimitrov did that a lot yesterday. We saw Novak do it quite a bit too. Although it's
that was a shame.
pretty much in his nature, I guess. But
I found that match a bit of a shame yesterday. I thought it was going to be a bit more of a contest between both of them.
Yeah, same here, because Dimitrov had all of those chances in the second set. Loses next 7 games, and then again, he's having a bunch of break points. He finally breaks back, and then he just couldn't hit through Zverev at all.
He couldn't. Zverev is showing excellent. Showing excellent form. Granted, the next test is to try and beat a top 10 player now, and he's not done that yet. Good one from Alcaraz. He manages to come into the court, was the aggressor, sees the point away to make it.
Speaking of which, his breakthrough did come last year, and probably his best tennis at a Grand Slam. At a Grand Slam level last season. And of course, he did get injured and pull the plug on his season, but he really could. I mean, you never know. That match against Nadal, was interesting to me as to how, it was 3 hours, not even 2 sets, and Zverev was just neither player really. I mean, you'd expect that from Nadal, but Zverev also, it's pretty much become a nightmare to play against in these conditions. His fitness has definitely improved, probably thanks to his physio, Hugo Graville or Garville. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name or what spelling is, but he used to be he was a former ATP physio, so I guess that helps. Because he has definitely. Okay, Alcaraz on the board.
He's on the board, 1-1.
I guess similar service holes from both players.
Yeah,
so
both players. I mean, I think it was something I saw a bit of commentary was about how, in the modern game, it used to be that, a few years ago that as Tsitsipas hits it wide by the looks of it, that comes into the net, but ends up hitting it wide on the winner. It was noted that in, even up to 5 or so years ago, players could at least spend the first couple of games really warming into a match and really feeling their way in. Now, these days, you have to literally play lights. It feels like players have to play lights out tennis from the get-go. Otherwise, the first set could be lost pretty quickly.
That's one thing, but at the same time, I feel like the concept of early breaks probably is waning out a bit, because it used to be crucial, but now you have players making comebacks from like the most bizarre positions, 2 breaks down, 2 sets in, breakdown and whatnot. So like, it's always it's probably better to just get the break towards the end of a set or a match, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's only really beneficial to have a break early on grass. Would probably be the best surface for that.
Yeah,
in terms of
at this point,
how hard it is to break on grass. If you get an early break, that's pretty much a set sorted if you've got a decent serve.
Because hard play is sort of getting homogenized so much right now that even the concept of not as many service breaks on hard court compared to a clay court, it's also something that's not really been the case. We've had a lot of clay court matches also where a player has just not, there's not been a break back of serve, if you will. There are also matches on hard court where you have, plenty of breaks of serve, like Sinner and Alcaraz at the US Open, for example. There were plenty, I think about 20, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, in that game, who served wasn't really a factor. It was just winning the game.
Yeah, that's true. That forehand of Alcaraz is long, so it's 15-30.
Yeah, but then the backhand of Tsitsipas as he comes to the net again is long as well, making it 40-15 or 15-40.
Right.
I need to make sure I get the score names the right way around.
Yeah, there's an early chance for Alcaraz.
Early chance to get the early break. see what happens here. Jane's happy for us calling the match. No worries, Jane. Okay, so Tsitsipas goes down the tee, or out wide, sorry. I thought that was long. So second serve. Hopefully I'm not too far ahead of you, Sherry.
You're just a serve ahead, so it's not too bad.
I'll make sure I do a small pause as well, just to make sure I'm on time with yours as well when they stop playing.
Oh yeah, I'd appreciate that. Not
And
sure why, and like
1, 2, 3. There we go. That should hopefully put it on to a little bit closer. You just had Alcaraz hit the ball wide or long?
Yep.
Cool.
So 30-40.
But second break point. Perhaps jogging on the spot. Oh, bit of a lot there on that let cord. Bounces well long. So it goes for the body. Oh, what? That was a bit of a poor return there by Alcaraz.
Yep.
Hits the net and bounces all sorts of any directions out of the island. Back to juice. That's a shame there. So a bit uncharacteristic of Alcaraz.
I'm just wondering why a lot of players, it's Tsitsipas, one of those exceptions. They just win the toss, select to receive. Doesn't matter what the conditions are. Doesn't matter the opponent. That's just what they want to do. I'm not sure why. Because if you're serving first, at least then you could put yourself in the position where you're breakaway from grabbing a set, or if you're a break up, changing ends, you're 3 games ahead. But receiving first, I guess, okay, yeah, probably serve is a bit scratchy, or not up to the mark as you would have expected. But then again, it's just so much easier to sort of retrieve a break back when you're not serving first.
Yeah, I completely agree. Backhand, good backhand to backhand exchange at the moment as Alcaraz has another break point. Really tight on that one. Alcaraz falling as Tsitsipas. Brilliant forehand from the backhand cross court exchange. Catches Alcaraz out, bringing it back to juice.
Yep. Just it's a lot of faith in that shot. Doesn't matter which direction he's going, really, and just somehow manages to work. It's pretty clutch as well. You don't see many errors from the forehand during these important moments ever. It's just gotta get that error, and he doesn't even double fault as much either.
No.
No, Ghosty, I don't. I wish I did.
But... Speaking of double faults, though. Faults. You kind of jinxed it a bit.
I've done it again, haven't I?
Now a 4th break point.
Just feel like this would be a huge hole for Tsitsipas if he gets through this, but
cross court, second serve. Is he going to get it? That was tapped to the line, but forehand winner by Alcaraz. Gets the early break. Sorry, I said that too loud. Sorry, YouTube and Twitch and whatnot. But yeah, Carlos Alcaraz with the early break here. Brilliant forehand, inside in volley, or volley-ish, half volley-ish. Gets the early break here on Philippe Chatrier. What a good game there by Alcaraz in that break point. You could probably say Tsitsipas kind of asked for it by the fact that he got that he double faulted to give Charlie.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that again, these are pretty expensive. Yeah, as I was saying, Tsitsipas, I mean, regardless of the fact that he double faulted here, he just doesn't usually tend to double. I mean, say Medvedev, for example, he just has a lot of double faults during some days, especially the loss in the first round, like 15 double faults. I don't think that's really good, especially when the match has been decided by, say, 4 points. you would look back at those double faults. But Tsitsipas, and there's so many games that he's sort of gotten out of, especially at the Australian Open. He was saving like a bunch of break points, like 30, 35 break points from the fourth round to the final.
I'm guessing though with those break points, because he didn't really actually play anyone higher ranked than him until, or even like anyone of a similar level of him until he got to the final, and that was where
I guess Sinner, Miss Sinner was he didn't wake up for until I guess the second set.
But I think in that situation, if you go 2 sets up quite quickly, you're going to feel pretty comfortable no matter who you're playing. I mean, unless you're playing, either Djokovic, Nadal, Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, or Murray, you're not necessarily you're going to feel a little bit comfortable 2 sets up. Good backhand by Alcaraz, backhand exchange. Really, both going backhand. What a backhand down the line from Alcaraz. Again, I hope I'm still on the right wavelength as you. As you, Sherry, as well when it comes to
that was he's pulling the trigger and Tsitsipas just doesn't know what to do. So I think he's patient enough to, even if Tsitsipas is defending pretty well, he just knows when to apply that injection of pace.
And a excellent serve down the tee. Tsitsipas is sent one way. Looks like a complete mug in that one. Like Alcaraz.
Wait, James, it was you who wrote that piece for Popcorn Tennis about Tsitsipas not winning a slam, or you not seeing Tsitsipas winning a slam, right?
That was me. I got a lot of hate for it.
It makes a lot of sense.
I have nothing against Tsitsipas. I want to add, I really like Tsitsipas, and whenever he's in like finals and whatnot, I do, especially if I don't really know the person he's playing, I do root for him to win. I just look at his game and I look at how his peers have performed, and there we go. There's the article from August. I literally wrote it straight as he lost that first round match in the US Open. I was like, this is, just given the way the tennis landscape is changing. If it weren't for the pure fact of the Alcarazes and the Runas of the world, I probably would still think Tsitsipas could win a Grand Slam. Given the fact that we've got, Alcaraz, Runa, Sinner, potentially the likes, Draper, whatnot, that are coming through, they, to me, are going to be of a higher level at the by their midpoints of their career than Tsitsipas will be. He's still not been able to beat the likes of Djokovic. Okay, Nadal's probably out the equation now, but he's not going to be able to beat the likes of Djokovic. On a hard court, I don't think he can beat the likes of Medvedev when, in like the real crucial hard court matches.
I don't see that.
I still stand by with what I wrote there, and I've currently still been proven right. I know he's. I think he'll pick up Masters titles. I still think he'll pick up hard court Masters titles. I just don't think he'll win a Grand Slam. And because all the evidence to me,
easy hold there for Alcaraz.
Easy hold,
barring a good return from Tsitsipas, for you love. But going back to what you wrote, I do tend to agree. I think he blew that. I don't want to say blue because he was 2 sets up against Novak, but Novak just switched on another level. After the first 2 sets and the toilet break and whatnot. And but then that being said, I think that was a huge chance for him. He did make another Grand Slam final. Novak at the Australian Open. I don't know who really gave him a chance there, to be honest. And then there are a lot of the glaring issue is the matchups with the likes of Medvedev. If you can throw in Nadal if you want, 2-7 against Nadal, 4-8 against Medvedev. Again, a pretty bad record against Alcaraz and Djokovic, and Holger Rune also having his number. Although they've played just twice so far. But it's
not good that a lot of the young players that are younger than Tsitsipas that are seen as up and comers.
There are players who are already
have multiple wins against him. You do not want that record. Like I said, Alcaraz 4 match wins, Runa 2 match wins. I know since the Sinner head-to-head's a little bit better for Tsitsipas. He's won a few of their contests, but Sinner's still got wins against him. I think I mentioned some other players as well, like Draper beat him in beat him in Toronto,
It was
in
Canada,
Montreal last year. Like there
Yeah.
are certainly a range of young players that are coming up that seem to be more hungry and actually have a better game than Tsitsipas already.
Yeah, that's true.
As it flings off the racket for Alcaraz there.
30-15.
Yeah.
That was weird, but a lot of shanks. We see usually from
What a
Tsitsipas.
recovery from Alcaraz. Literally, Tsitsipas sends him pretty much so far off court, he's pretty much gone to Germany, and he comes running back onto it and is able to hit.
Okay, yeah, this is looking awfully one-sided already. 4 games in.
That is brilliant. That's utterly brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Tsitsipas even played a bad point.
I would say.
Oh yeah, maybe. I do think he should have controlled that volley better. Probably waited a bit, played a drop volley instead. But you kind of know with Alcaraz that he's capable of pulling off such shots. That it had to be that good. But yeah, coming back to the point about Tsitsipas, yeah, I do agree. The matchups not looking good either for him. But yeah, also just outside of Grand Slams too, the finals, he just doesn't have a very good record. He has 9 titles, but he's sort of stagnated as well. He's turning 25, I believe, this year. And then usually the discourse around him and Medvedev, because he's usually compared most to Medvedev, considering the whole rivalry. Medvedev and Zverev. The thing with Medvedev is that, he's 2 years older or 2.5 years older. Tsitsipas holds drop shot winner from the forehand side. It's pretty good to see. 3-2 for Alcaraz.
3-2. Yeah, I mean, I think the big record there, Paul, nice to bring up, and apologies, Tsitsipas fans in the chat. We do not want to make this sound like we're dissing Tsitsipas. He has so many good qualities. I love the fact he's won Monte Carlo twice. Granted, that's the only Grand Masters he's won, and it's at a weird time of the season, but we'll scratch over that. It's like like when, what was it? Kachanov and Jack Sock won the Paris Masters, but that's another matter. What was it I was going to say? Because I just lost my train of thought to try and make it.
Yeah, it was about Medvedev. So yeah, Medvedev at 25, definitely at this point. Let's say 2021, he had that career best season. He could end up having one this season too. I guess overall he's still number 1 in the race. Of course, Alcaraz winning, Djokovic winning puts him ahead of Medvedev in the rankings, number 2. Alcaraz winning this would put him on top of the race. But that being said, having accumulated almost as many points by June as he did during the entire last season, I think that puts him in a pretty good, with the best part of the season for him to go, puts him in a pretty good position, possibly to even get the year-end number 1 ranking. I don't know if he will win a slam this season. I do think he'll definitely win at least a couple of other big titles.
I think his best chance of winning a slam would be the US Open.
Yeah.
I think the issue I got is that Indian Wells match, that final with Alcaraz, scars me in trying to think that if a contest like that took place again, if Tsitsipas, because he's on the screen, if Medvedev could go through a draw and get to a final and it not be Alcaraz and not play this Alcaraz at all, I think he could win the US Open. If it's Alcaraz in that final, I think it could be close to feel like a bit of a bloodbath, and when it comes to that result, because it's that was such a demolition of Medvedev.
It was not close at all. I mean, Medvedev didn't even see a break point. But I still do want to hold by the fact that on a faster court, I would like Medvedev's chances a lot more than on a court like Indian Wells. If you just look at it, I guess Medvedev in the US Open series, if you will, has been better, so at least at the moment, than Alcaraz has, because Medvedev's won all of those titles. Alcaraz won the Sunshine Double. Medvedev has made the final in one, won the other. So I do think if they play, on a much faster hard court, you would like Medvedev's chances more because his serve will be rewarded. I think he also he can counterpunch better, if that makes sense, on a faster
does
court
make
against
sense.
someone like Alcaraz. Movement really wasn't an issue on the surface. It was one that was jarring on clay, where he just couldn't figure out how to move. Easy hole, by the way, for Alcaraz, 4-2.
He's
I
just
guess,
rolling through his service games, the professional,
yeah, he is.
business-like manner.
Yeah, and that's kind of something that's surprising me, because Alcaraz is not someone who, at least against the elite, you see a lot of fluctuations. He breaks, he gets broken back, keeps going on, but like he's cruising through his service games. I don't even think he's gotten to 30 all, has he? No, he hasn't.
No, I don't think he hasn't. He's just hit a brilliant backhand at the skies against Tsitsipas. You can see Apostolos already nattering to his son. Are we going to see more, family dramas?
Yeah, balls being hit to the box. Who knows?
You talk about keeping up the Kardashians. You got trash talking with the Tsitsipas. Taking place at the moment on Philippe Chatrier. There, as we got a bit of a very loose ball there by Tsitsipas, almost on the baseline, never mind the service box. And he smashes one into net. You can tell that he is under pressure. Tsitsipas is unable to do it on his first serve. It doesn't tend to go well the rest of the point, and he knows that, and he's playing off that at the moment. What's that girl doing, putting her feet on that guy's seat?
It's funny because this is looking very much like what Djokovic and Nadal's quarterfinal looked like last year in the first set. Yeah, well, it's
lovely ball there. Oh God. Okay, that was a bit of a weird one from Alcaraz. Should have gone up the line. Did go to Tsitsipas, but Tsitsipas was so surprised by that he ends up burying it in the net. 40 love to Alcaraz for a double break here in the first set.
Yeah, this is not looking good so far. Usually, you at least expect Tsitsipas to have some good service games, keep at least some scoreboard pressure on his opponent. He's not been able to do that whatsoever. I think, the only time he was ahead.
Wow! Oh my God! What a sorry.
No worries. Yeah, I think
that was epic. So again, Tsitsipas.
Oh my God! That was Nadal-esque. I hate to make the comparison between the two, but that was so Nadal-esque. Like,
if anyone didn't see it, so what I told you a point of view a couple of games ago, where Tsitsipas sent Alcaraz out to Germany. On that one, he sent him back to Spain in terms of how far out, wide of the court he went to.
I don't understand. I can't wrap my head around how he got there. And I mean, if you look at Juan Carlos Ferrero, you're not looking at the scoreboard, you would think that it's Alcaraz who's 5-2 down.
Yeah, he's probably going.
My
for God's sake, the lad's already started.
No motion is just that much better. I've always wondered this one thing: when you have players pulling off shots like these, and then the lines people just have that poker face and just gesturing as to whether the ball was in or out. Like, how are they not taken aback?
You can imagine just going like that. I was wanting to go like that.
There's no expression, and wow, that was just unreal.
That is how you double break. So
I want to know what John has to say about this. He said that I would be right if Steph gets 15 games. I don't know if it looks like that at this point.
If Steph gets 15 games, I mean, he's already got,
2.
13 the games he has to get left. The first set looks like it's about to finish. I mean, this carries on. He'd be lucky to get a handful.
That's true. I just hope he gets to. I don't know if he'll get to double figures at this point. Probably something like 6-2, 6-4, 6-3-ish.
And then probably the most scariest sight in tennis, when a decent server shows you a new ball. Down the line, up in the air by Tsitsipas. Oh, had a bit, just about landed in the court. But Alcaraz is on top of this point already. Tsitsipas just flailing. Goes for the drop shot. Bellissima from Alcaraz with that drop shot. Standing so far behind the baseline, but it doesn't matter. He can hit a drop shot anywhere. And
it's unreal. I mean, how far he is, but I guess it's sort of evened out by the fact that Tsitsipas is also I guess a couple of feet or 3 feet behind the baseline.
Hmm.
Yeah, and didn't need to be that good, but it was pretty good considering how far back Alcaraz was. Um,
Got second serve here, going to be a chance for Tsitsipas. And he goes to the drop shot again, and it succeeds again, and it just works. It just works again. He does the exact same drop shot. You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It felt like there when it comes to Tsitsipas. He basically led it up, and Alcaraz thought, do you know what? Let's do tiki-taka again. Okay, so are we going to get a third drop shot in a row? No, we get a forehand sprayed wide by Tsitsipas. We now go to 40 love, 3 set points for a first set, 6-2. Hopefully I'm still not too far ahead of you, Sherry. I want to make sure that we're watching at the same point.
No, not really that far ahead. This has not been close whatsoever, and just wonder if I didn't factor in Alcaraz improving as much as Alcaraz improving as much as he has over the last year. I mean, when did they last play? I mean, yeah, look at the points won. 28 for Alcaraz and half of that for Tsitsipas. That's not good.
Well, Tsitsipas though on the aggression on there, not saying I'm still in this match. I'm still playing.
Okay, yeah.
Not with that. I mean, it's one of the things
Tsitsipas
about
again.
He's pretty... I don't mean to sound like Robbie Kalong, and if you're a UK viewer, you'll understand who that is by me saying this. But big time games require big time players, and Alcaraz is a big time player.
Yeah, he has his cliches for sure.
Down the tee,
99% out is a 100% in.
Okay, hits it out. So we're not necessarily getting the spectacular end to this game as we're expecting. Alcaraz still has a game point, but we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, well, it's a couple of loose shots. I think
you can forgive him. He's had near enough an impeccable set.
Well, the level's just been that high, so I guess.
Yeah. Goes down the tee. Tsitsipas hits a wild one. Alcaraz can run onto it. Tsitsipas hits it long, and the first set belongs to the Spanish wizard, or trainee wizard. He's only just left Hogwarts in terms of his tennis ability. He's already sticking Stefanos in and around the court. God knows where. We went all sorts.
Yeah,
of styles.
I mean, this is. I guess he wants that matchup with Novak, huh?
He does. I think us in the tennis world,
we all do, because it's just been it's been nonsensical in a way that if you exclude this RG, they've only played 5 tournaments. They played in the same tournament 5 times rather since their only clash, and there was RG last year, Wimbledon, Astana, Rome, Bercy and Rome. So that's just 5 events, and you had some player going out earlier than the other. Yeah, and in all of those tournaments, I guess there's only a couple of them which neither of them won. Or I should say RG as well. So
I agree. It's been almost like the biggest crime in tennis. The fact that
I mean you have one guy sitting out because he's not able to go to tournaments. The other one just gets injured every now and then.
I mean, let's be honest. I know we don't open a can of worms about Djokovic. Look, you have, maybe because I'm from a tourism background. My viewpoint is that you've got entry requirements for a country. If you don't meet them, you can't enter. That's what happens.
That's true. I do agree with that. I just don't see why there are usually debates around that. I'm just glad there won't be such debates anymore. Is all I can say. Obviously not the place to talk about our stances with regards to these things, but I didn't have an issue. Neither did Novak, as a matter of fact, with him not playing those tournaments, because if you're not eligible, you're not eligible. That's it.
And it's just a case of that where it was that that those specific countries didn't had entry requirements that Novak wasn't prepared to meet, and regardless, it's down to the residents of those countries. I can see that Ghost is mentioning about the US ones. As a citizen of the United States, Ghost, you have absolutely all right to discuss what you think the entry requirements to your country should be, and how you want to administer them.
I don't know if I don't know if that's the most stupid thing about the US, so we won't go there.
Yeah. There's other bits about other things to do with America, but there's things
exactly.
where they could
Yeah, far more problematic, pretty scary also. But yeah, they were just watering down the courts. I mean, have they done this?
That's a bit fun. I can see Tsitsipas's any hope is distinguishing the water.
Yeah, it's so symbolic because that's gonna help Alcaraz.
Yes. he's going to look at that and goes, if any hope I have in this match, I've got the fires of my hope being distinguished by the water of Philippe Chatrier. Oh god.
Yeah, I could just look at Tsitsipas. He's just.
So that set took a grand total of 34 minutes on the clock. Will see a similar set, or will Tsitsipas change something up here? Let's see how this first point goes.
Does it really make sense to count the time between the changeover and the start of the second set in the first set's duration? I don't know, because I think the first set was sort of 30 minutes or so.
Yeah. So I know some courts, some tournaments do it differently, where here clearly they count the bit between the last game taking place and obviously the first, they're calling time to go up on the court as part of the first set. But I know that in some of the tournaments, as soon as the last ball's hit, that's when the time stops, and then they start a new clock.
I just saw John's comment over there.
Oh, and that is a passing winner, making Tsitsipas look like a right mug again.
This is yeah. No, I mean, I guess you and John are right. I overestimated Tsitsipas' chances a lot. It's just, yeah. I mean,
yeah, maybe you were over the stars. Yeah, you were. I don't know. You were crystal gazing on a Ouija board. Anything to get a little bit of hope for Tsitsipas here, as he hits a wild one.
3 break points already.
Break point in the first game of the second set on Tsitsipas' serve. Is Alcaraz about to really stick his,
oh my god,
perfectly white shoes, even on a clay court, on the throat of Tsitsipas? Metaphorically. I really want to reiterate that. It's a brilliant metaphor, but it's also quite a violent one, and I do apologise. Photographers are getting their shots. Tsitsipas is not happy with something. He's looking up in the sky. See what happens here. Goes down the tee. Alcaraz, good, strong forehand. I think the wind's really picking up at the moment. It's causing some problems. Backhand to Tsitsipas. Forehand to Tsitsipas, and he hits it long. The wind.
Oh my god.
Alcaraz is able to take the early break here to make it 1-love. Last ball drops could be early one today. I think it could be. It's a shame there's no matches on Susan Longland that could possibly overtake this. So, just remember everyone to watch the last ball drops tonight. Remember, after the last ball drops here on Philippe Chatrier, will be the Daily Show to recap the day's play, covering things such as Jabur's victory. Along with Djokovic's slight hiccup, but still sailing through his match against Kachanov. And then, of course, it was the other person I won today, just make sure I get that right, and Sabalenka's victory over Citavino. Honourable Citavino as well. Talking to saying yet, Surbiton might finish later than Archie. I think there could be a doubles match on right now. They could be going quite deep on court 7.
Is this? Do you see Tsitsipas taking a set? I just want to ask for the sake of asking. Doesn't look like it at the moment, but
I think there's a better chance of me getting into the Royal Box at Wimbledon, unfortunately.
Oh my god! Okay,
That's
okay. Wild backhand, I guess happens. Okay, I just saw Ghosty's comment. Oh yes, I Yeah, I am an astrophysicist, and yeah, I did read about that as well. Uh, Apparently, they're like sprouting from these filaments, are sprouting from the supermassive black hole at the heart of our galaxy. I haven't read much more, but yeah, it is pretty fascinating. Um, okay.
I haven't actually seen much of the Lions judge for a while. She's been called off the chair for the
Yeah, I mean, I did. It was, I think, 3-1 when I last saw.
Wow, that
Line
was a
judge.
weird ball. That skidded off the mark quite quickly on the Hawkeye graphic. Looks a bit more like a bowling ball.
I mean, they could implement this, like how Madrid has Fox 10. I'm not sure what's holding RG back.
It's I guess a lot of it's suggestion, isn't it? Really, I mean, it's just seen as the proper way of doing it on clay, just to actually have somebody come off the chair and look at a mark on the floor. You know, I think we know some of the issues with some of the courts. I mean, Roland Garros is quite good in terms of drop shot, another disguised drop shot, beautifully laid in by Alcaraz. You cannot say better than that. What was I saying? I know that Roland Garros has got this cement type substance on the floor, which means that almost the clay and the actual lines of the court are pretty much similar in terms of their height. Whereas we know on other courts, like at Rome, like at Barcelona, and all that, they're nailed on, aren't they? The lines themselves are nailed onto the court, which means that they're slightly higher, literally only by like a millimeter or so, than what would be another perfect drop shot at the net, bellissimo there from Alcaraz. But like I was saying, because of the fact that it's only a millimeter or two higher that the lines are nailed on, when the ball bounces down, especially on a very tight court, when the courts are level, it could bounce out. Whereas if the line is slightly ajar, the tip of it could clip the ball and as such be marked as in, which I know causes some of the variation issues with Hawkeye and Fox 10 to be used.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for letting me know. I had no idea of any of that.
That's all right. I ended up having a look into it because
that is a good lob from. I mean, Alcaraz. I'm not sure how he was even in the point after that lob, but it just has to be that good from Tsitsipas to even stay in the match at this moment.
So it certainly does. Yeah, so that was. I think that's the only reason why they haven't introduced it on clay courts more thoroughly, because of that potential inconsistency. Because somebody could point to a mark on the floor and go, "Look, it's clearly in," but then Box 10 or Hawkeye can say it's out. Good work from there. Alcaraz at the line. Tsitsipas is there flailing, hits it long. Alcaraz able to consolidate to make it 2-love.
2-love.
No, I'm pretty sure ice cream is a super path to God than science. Crikey. Sure, a path to God than science. What was that, Shiri? You've kind of broken up on me a bit there. Hopefully that's not my internet connection. So we got a bit of a failed first serve there by Alcaraz. Shiri's connection hopefully re-emerges. Forehand, strong forehand by Alcaraz. Forehand again by Alcaraz. Tsitsipas is just left to have the ability to be able to hit it back and forth. Backhand down the line by Tsitsipas. Forehand the other side by Alcaraz. And Tsitsipas does anything but bury it into the net. James clearly hasn't had enough Cherry Kills. Okay. All right, Ghost on that one. Remember, make sure you make some comments in the chat. If you've got anything that you would like me and Sherry to have a talk about, please do put that in there. And any comments about the match, your feelings, your thoughts, how you think this is going watching it. You know, are you a super happy Alcaraz fan that's watching him put away a known next genner, or are you a distressed Tsitsipas fan who just wants him to up his level here and have a go? We are working. So, cross the T there by Tsitsipas. No luck. Yep, the Gremlins have got him. Hopefully we get the Gremlins back from him. Backhand by Alcaraz. Backhand by Tsitsipas. Nice floating backhand by Alcaraz. Up the line. Tsitsipas just about get to it. British neutralizes the point. Alcaraz, just pushed a little bit too wide there. Tsitsipas looking a little bit better in the service game. Alcaraz looking a little bit better in the thing. Jane is loving every moment. Sherry, we've got you back.
All right. Yeah. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you. I can hear you. It is all smooth as butter.
Okay, great.
For Alcaraz's forehand at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say that I think Apostolos is preparing a drink for his son. I just saw him open up a water bottle, and not sure if he was adding some electrolyte tablets or something like that, but some magic drink.
Maybe something stiffer as well, just to make his son be able to go through this.
Some magic drink that could hopefully get his son back in the match, I guess.
As his son, who has a 13-15 lead there, a little bit more comfortable in the service game, hits a double fault. You can just tell the pressure that Alcaraz is putting on Tsitsipas here is really causing.
This reminds me of Djokovic, and obviously not the same scenario at all, but Djokovic and Wawrinka at the US Open almost 10 years ago. It was a semifinal, and it was right after. It was the first meeting since that AO epic that they played in the fourth round. I remember I was out, and then I got back home. I switched on the TV to Wawrinka holding for 6-2, 4-2, and Novak just looking absolutely helpless. So I guess in this scenario, Tsitsipas is not Novak in the sense that he's not the favorite, and Alcaraz is the heavy favorite, all things considered. But it is sort of similar in the sense that just Tsitsipas just doesn't know what to do. He's being overpowered, and the scoreline is not helping him whatsoever.
He's not. I mean, you just had one there where Alcaraz was able to run right to the net on that one, a bit of a chip and charge, something Dan Evans would be pleased to see. And Tsitsipas was unable to do anything with it but bury it in the net. He's freezing in these situations. Decision making is terrible, really.
Yeah,
it's up there with Frank Lampard as a manager of a football team with decision making. It's absolutely terrible. So, I'm sorry, I'm coming out with too many weird lines. So I do apologise. Backhand by Alcaraz, forehand by Tsitsipas. Bit better by Tsitsipas there, and it just goes long. But Alcaraz is doing all sorts about to keep in these points, keeping them well. I see his team are happy about that, but he's only got advantage.
I mean, it's good to see him sort of encouraging himself, I guess.
You kind of feel he needs this hold, and he gets it. He gets it. Luckily, this could have gone really haywire if he wasn't able to at least held his service game there.
Yeah, well, let's change something up. Tsitsipas quite dangerous when he's behind in the scoreboard, much like I would say Zverev also is. I don't know if there is a term for dying star in your profession. Yeah, well, there are two different terms for that, depending on what kind of star it is. I don't want to go into details here, but I recommend calling it a tsitsi. That I don't know if I should laugh at that. It's funny, probably harsh, but yeah, well, does seem to be the state at the moment. But did anyone envision Tsitsipas to be sort of a future number one / world beater?
I'm guessing maybe 5 years ago that would have been the case.
Maybe,
I mean, certainly when he was, 2018, 2019, when he was winning, Marseille and whatnot, and was really starting to show, a new young potential on the tour and the good results in the clay. But it just like a lot of them are that sort of next gen bunch. I think barring Medvedev, it seems to be.
There was promise for Zverev, I would say. I don't know about Tsitsipas. But nobody would have thought that it would be neither Tsitsipas or Zverev, but Medvedev, who would be the Grand Slam champion and world number 1 and whatnot, because a lot of people expected one of these two, at least one of these two, or probably both.
So we get our first double fault by Alcaraz there. First double fault by Alcaraz. Interesting. And we've got things sort of slightly settling down.
I guess Alcaraz is also another player, probably seldom double faults. He has that super reliable kick serve.
His second serve is improving. It's still a bit attackable, unfortunately, his service games.
Yeah, I mean that if you were to pick on something, they will be the serve really in this game. But
you see, he says Tsitsipas there gearing himself up as he ends up spraying a shot wide on the return. First serve points won, 18 out of 20 for Alcaraz, 12 out of 23 for Tsitsipas. That's quite a telling stat popping up there.
Yep.
First serves, barring the fact that Alcaraz has just looped it over his head and not hit it, is going quite well for Alcaraz at the moment. Just watch this taking place at the moment. It goes down the tee. The wind, the spin, the God knows what on that. Really hampering Tsitsipas as he hits it wide. 30-15 to Alcaraz.
Answering Ghost's question, do you think Alcaraz is a better? At the moment, I would definitely prefer Holger's serve to Carlos's, especially. I think I'm still high on his performance against Novak and Bercy, I would say. The way he was, I mean, the serve placement was just unreal. Especially
Jesus. He just froze again, Tsitsipas. So Tsitsipas had a brilliant return, shoved Alcaraz right to the back of the court, really put out Tsitsipas.
Bad miss.
Then just sprays a forehand long. Like, you cannot do that in these games. You need to convert that. It's your bread and butter. Sorry, Siri. I don't mean to button in over that one.
I just saw that.
I got a great seat. That seems I'm Prince George in that scenario. It was a strange parenting choice of him to take Prince George to a Nick Kyrgios match, but that's down to him.
3-1 Alcaraz. He's just toying with Tsitsipas at the moment.
3-1 Alcaraz. Jesus.
3 games so far for Steph. 12 to go at least.
12 to go, 12 to go, and he just hits the net. I think he's determined to give. I really hope that statement doesn't come back and haunt me, as that picture now has.
You don't get this on the tennis channel. John, we don't get anything from Tennis Channel if it's geo-blocked as well. So, I think we take anything over what Tennis Channel is doing.
Hits it long. Tsitsipas hits it long. It's a second serve.
Rally's won less than 5 shots. How is Tsitsipas trading there?
Dirty love to Alcaraz. It's double fault. You can just see the break. It's almost as though you can see the cloud above Tsitsipas's head at the moment. He doesn't know what to do in a lot of these situations.
Yep. Also, 14 out of 50 points won under 5 shots for Steph. He's not winning the points that are in his strengths. That's the problem right there.
Just poor again. But Tsitsipas is able to recover from that as a fan in the crowd and the camera absolutely jumps up with joy for that one. That was a really poor smash by Tsitsipas. He was able to recover that.
Gives it straight
to. Should have put that away when it came to game for the smash.
This is veering into his I want to say AO 2019 semifinal, sort of like that. I think Kate Middleton is a legitimate fan.
I think she is.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen her talk quite a lot with Novak during that Champions Walk or whatever you call it. She does seem to know the sport pretty well.
Oh, that was close to being a brilliant forehand winner by Alcaraz. Just hits the net on that one.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, Kate Cambridge, as her official name is. She's the president now of the All England Tennis Club. Like a ceremonial role, but she's still president of it. She don't usually do that to anyone who isn't a fan. I think it was famous. I know this is going to be terrible knowledge for me to distill, that the former Queen of England, Elizabeth II, wasn't actually really much of a tennis fan, and really showed up when she absolutely had to. But her grandson William is actually a bit more of a tennis who likes tennis a lot more. There you go. Useless facts of the day by Tennis Ranter. But that's another thing you can end up checking if you want.
Oh,
Because we are at Juice now. Another
double. This is not good. I mean, if Alcaraz ends up with a 2 sets to love lead, losing just 3 to 4 games, then my prediction is just needs to be rolled up and thrown into the garbage right away.
It does backhand. We've got a bit of a backhand exchange. Forehand by Tsitsipas into the net, and Alcaraz has another break point. And he's not happy. Alcaraz isn't happy. Now, I don't know why he's unhappy. You're a set, and potentially going to be a double break up, mate. Against one of the best players in the world, I would be on cloud 9. Or whatever cloud is above Tsitsipas's head at this point.
Oh my god.
Backhand by Alcaraz. Forehand by Tsitsipas. Alcaraz able to just about get to it. And what a passing winner by Alcaraz to make it a double break up.
Oh my god, this guy
came in with the drop shot up the net.
How did he get there?
Again,
and not only does he get there, but I mean, he just puts it away with ease. 6-2, 4-1 with 2 breaks. I mean, this is a hammering.
This is ridiculous, and he's picking out some fruits from his bag as well. We are seeing the fruits of his labor taking place on the court. I mean,
does he need fruits at this point? It's
like in F1. I know it's going to be an old quote now, but when you're watching it, Hamilton's in the lead by 10 odd seconds, and then
he read that ball. He knew exactly where it was going.
Is it hammer time? And that feels like what we're seeing at the moment. Is it hammer time? He's asking Carlos Ferrero, is it hammer time now? Can I really stick the afterburners on in this set? Quite fitting given the fact that Ferrero currently has a BMW hat on. He's already up. He's already jogging. We're at 56 minutes on the clock, and we could get the first 2 sets done in an hour. Yeah, 22 minutes for this set so far. Alcaraz, double break. Can he consolidate the double break? Hope you're all enjoying this at home. Alcaraz down the tee. Tsitsipas flails to it. Cross court by Alcaraz. Forehand by Tsitsipas. Drop shot by Alcaraz. And the script writes itself. Easy winner. Easy winner.
It's like we're in a simulation. We see the same points over and over again, and like Steph is not doing anything about it. Like, it's not changing anything up either.
Feels like a video game, and you just set the
it does
the opponent's difficulty level to amateur. I know it's terrible to say it again. Any Tsitsipas fans, I'm not saying this intentionally or anything being vendetta. It's just how I see it at the moment. It is not a great performance. I mean, I've seen I mean, I felt as though Nori's performance against Musetti a couple of days ago was of better quality than this. There we go. Total points 1. Alcaraz 50. Tsitsipas 27. I mean, if that was a rugby score, that would be an annihilation.
That forehand goes long, 15 all.
It does go long. Alcaraz is prone to the odd mistake. He's not hitting on absolutely every cylinder. Got a bit of sun. I can get some more light. That's better. Get some more light in here. Forehand wide by Thingy. Oh, brilliant shot by Alcaraz, but he sits past it there. Backhand lob. Oh, bit of a weird one there by Alcaraz. Should have done either way, but went straight back to Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas, I think for the first time, was 30-15 up on Alcaraz's serve.
Yep.
Ghost saying Nori's performance against Alcaraz in Rio was better than this. What do you mean by that? Nori won that match. Was me backing Nori. I always back Nori, even if but granted that performance against Musetti, I will not back. Not to dig up old wounds. As everyone knows, my Twitter page has a picture of Cam Nori winning the Rio title. Oh, yeah, brilliant scoop. What a scoop there by Alcaraz. It was as good as a scoop you'll get on the seafront in Bournemouth or Brighton or wherever. Winners in this set, I believe. Oh, winners total 20 for Alcaraz, 10 for Tsitsipas. So you've got 30-30 here. Bit of a pressure game. Bit of a rarity on Alcaraz's serve. Up the line by Alcaraz. Tsitsipas flailing it long and flailing it long beyond the baseline. Ghost asking, are you more into Nori than Evans or Draper or Murray? If there was a tier list, Ghost, that's a fun question. Murray will always be on the top because he will always be dear to my heart. Then Nori, then Draper, and I'm like in a real top tier, and then Evans a little bit lower. Cross court, just bounces off. By the way, who is the Yorkshire fellow in the Roland Garros press room? Good Yorkshire fellow.
His name is Jonathan, I know that.
Yeah. Wow, what a bounce off that by Alcaraz. Just, I think there's a let there, unfortunately. It's lights out tennis, right? Yeah, he probably said in his voice, it's lights out tennis right now. I say that because I'm part of Yorkshire, so I can't actually make the accent up. I mean, I haven't lived there for years, but I am part of Yorkshire. Cross court, backhand long. Alcaraz 5-1.
Oh God, this is not good.
5-1 to Alcaraz.
What does Steph do now? Like just.
I mean, I'm having a look, and he could possibly hide himself under the covers of the court. That could be an option. I mean,
I just wonder if this match would have been a lot closer during day conditions.
I think the only way this match would have been closer would have been on a completely different surface, and maybe 2 years younger. At this stage, I mean, Alcaraz has just come locked in. It is like a mini Nadal in a way.
Yeah,
just locked in from the first point.
Looking at Holger Rune's forehand in that image, it's like the way he and Alcaraz. I mean, these youngsters, they sort of. I mean, except Sinner, of course. Sinner sort of has that bent elbow like Novak. Very Federer and Nadal-esque, both of these guys. But Sinner, again, he just has that power, just bludgeons the forehand. So many of his winners this year, like over 100 miles an hour.
Well, it's 15 love to Alcaraz and Tsitsipas' serve here. You can see the president of the French Federation of Tennis not looking entirely best pleased.
Yeah.
Backhand by Tsitsipas. Backhand wide by Tsitsipas. 30 love. I think there's going to have to be a big bathroom break by Tsitsipas. He's going to have to get up the court. I mean, so bigger than the time he went in the first round against Andy Murray at the US Open.
Nobody's going to forget about that, right?
It's his dad trying to encourage him, but this is, I mean, you can tell that at the moment, I think he just wants the entire court to swallow him up. He is not. I mean, this isn't.
He wants to be anywhere but there at the moment.
Completely anywhere else but that. It's 15 years into the future,
nice
and Carlos Alcaraz is on the verge of breaking a Grand Slam record. But a young guy called Stefan Djokovic denies it. Could be the case. Back over the line by Alcaraz, into the net by Tsitsipas. 3 set points and a triple break in the first set. This is Ferrero still looks worried. I don't know why. His young charge, his young steed. Look at the shouting by Tsitsipas. He is really losing it at the moment. Three set points here. Let's see if Alcaraz can do it on Tsitsipas' serve. I think the crowd gets a bit annoyed at him now. Yeah, it was a great comment there by Ghost. Down the tee, goes wide. Again, Tsitsipas just doesn't know where to put the ball at the moment. Okay, so Tsitsipas goes down, and it's a double fault. The pressure. There's more pressure here than there is on the surface of Venus at the moment. It is
6-2, 6-1, 2 sets to love for Alcaraz, and of course, I'm absolutely wrong unless there's some massive miracle here. I was completely off with my prediction.
That's right, Sherry. I mean, I had a terrible prediction, which was I thought the Medvedev was going to win the French Open. So we can all make absolutely barnstorming, terrible predictions.
Oh, I would have loved that, but oh well.
Thanks for tuning into this watch along. While there's a break in play, here's a reminder to hit the like button, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Your support helps to keep the channel going. While we're here, you can now become a member to enjoy perks, including badges for the live chat, but also bonus material, such as interviews with top players from both ATP and WTA tours. The membership link is pinned in the live chat. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So whether it be serves or volleys, forehands or backhands, serve bots or drop shots, we've got you covered, whether that be via our website, talking-tennis.com, where you can read features and interviews from our top writers. Or if you prefer us in audio form, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Amazon, or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Remember, we offer you wall-to-wall coverage via our regular watch-alongs, magazine shows such as Nick's WTA Weekly or Damien and Mario's ATP version. Plus, we deliver top content from people on the ground, actually at the tournaments, so you get even nearer to the action. So, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Coming to you every evening, night, day, depending on where you are in the world, will be The Last Ball Drops. This will be a show on Talking Tennis as soon as that ball drops on the last match of the day, morning, afternoon, evening, or night at Roland Garros, probably on Philippe Chatrier. We will go live with a review of the day's play. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell. That way, as soon as we go live, you'll get the notification, you can come and join us, and you'll get to hear the thoughts of people such as Mario, Damien, Jack, Nick, many more, maybe even me, from time to time. You know the drill. Make sure you subscribe. See you soon.
As was said there in that brilliant clip by John, make sure that you watch the last ball drops tonight, which at this rate could be in 20, 25 minutes time, given the way things are going in this match, or we could be here until the wee small hours of Wednesday morning. But I highly doubt that. Tsitsipas is done over by another drop shot. Alcaraz gets to the net, backhand passing winner. Excellent shot there by Alcaraz as we go to 15-15 now. How are you feeling for this set, Sherry?
6-3 for Alcaraz, what I'm looking at. The way things are going.
You actually mean to get three? That's it. Tsitsipas going to get to 3 games.
I hope, but I don't know. I guess more realistic would be 6-1 or 6-2, but just never know.
No. Don't know at this stage.
Good news that Carlos is serving first. Okay, there's a pretty regulation miss, the forehand inside in from Alcaraz.
Yeah, you get this sort of odd miss that you get scattered at random points. See, backhand up the line, backhand, forehand, backhand long by Tsitsipas as we go to 30. Blow said, last ball drops. Make sure you watch that show tonight. Should be a good one. Granted, there probably won't be much to say, barring Alcaraz was great when it comes to this match. I know we shouldn't predict too far into the future, as anything could happen, and Tsitsipas could have a brilliant revival. But all the evidence, all the stats, everything is pointing towards Alcaraz seeing this off in 3 sets. My prediction's somewhat coming true. Is it another ball is spread?
I really do think that Djokovic and Alcaraz should be the evening match.
The night match.
Yeah, night match.
It has to be.
I guess you call it evening match, but yeah, match
Friday night under the lights.
Yep, we want that though.
Right now, that has to be the night match. That has to be the night match.
Yep.
Whatever we get, Rune versus Zverev will be a nice appetizer in the middle of the day. Granted, I'll be at Surbiton for the best part of it, and I kind of really hope it's a night match for Tsitsipas versus Alcaraz, as I'll be able to get back in time to watch that. But yeah, I really hope it's a night match. I know, like we said, it's only just 1-love in the 3rd set now to Alcaraz, and anything could happen in tennis. We know that. Alcaraz could pull something, and hey presto, Tsitsipas is back in it. But at this stage, it's looking unlikely. We get a thing about tomorrow. So we've got Haddad Maia versus Jabeur, Swiatek versus Goff, Zverev versus Etcheverry, and the night match tomorrow is Rune versus Ruud. The rematch of the Gate, which took place this time last year. Did Rune, did he or did he not say Ra in the face of Rune? You'll still never know.
Okay, that was a year ago, and then we have the exact same match again. So it's
exact same match, just a round later. Was it around? Yeah, it was a round later. Oh, no, it was a quarterfinal, wasn't it? It was the quarterfinal.
It was, yes.
It was the exact same match and the exact same point in the draw.
Yep.
The stars of the line.
Exact same time as well.
Exact same time. It is literally everything we would have thought. It's Groundhog Day. We need to have Bill Murray out with a groundhog standing in front of the Philippe Chatrier court saying, "It's Groundhog Day. Is it going to come out?" Up the line there by Alcaraz, backhand by Tsitsipas, drop shot by Alcaraz. Tsitsipas just able to get to it. Backhand cross court. Tsitsipas just about gets to it. Backhand, just long. Forehand long by Alcaraz. What looked like it should have been another theatrics by Alcaraz, unable to see that through. And it will be
I mean, Tsitsipas is just so discouraged at the moment. He just doesn't know.
I think he's just looking to try and get a hold here. Oh, and Alcaraz unable to reach that 30-15 to Tsitsipas at the moment. Alcaraz or Tsitsipas across the tee, ends up bizarrely bouncing back. Down the tee, Alcaraz hits it into the net. Oh, a little bit of a drop there by Alcaraz. 40-15 to Tsitsipas, probably the most comfortable he's looked in a while. Alcaraz getting into position. Bounces long by Tsitsipas. So we're just moving ourselves forward. Backhand by Alcaraz. Forehand into the air by Tsitsipas. Unable to do anything with that shot.
I can't even tell if Tsitsipas would have preferred to serve first. He did in the first 2 sets. So,
I think any sort of change up he'll take at this stage.
Yeah, that's true.
Forward by Tsitsipas. Forehand by Djokovic, preempted. But then Tsitsipas fires it wide. What should have been a put away forehand cross court winner. He fires long beyond the tram line.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
should have.
Although Tsitsipas had 2 game points here, who is winning? I mean, I don't know who the 24% are. I think they need to put the match on. Backhand by Alcaraz, backhand by Tsitsipas, forehand by Alcaraz, forehand by Tsitsipas, buries it into the net, and it's break point for Alcaraz. I feel as though I probably have said that.
What should have been a hole to 15?
I'm about to say, I think I've said break point to Alcaraz or breaks by Alcaraz so much you could probably clip it and play it over and over again, and it'll probably be right whenever you play it in this match. Let's see if Alcaraz can convert, get the early lead here in the final set. Down the tee there by Tsitsipas. It is longer, or it's wide of the tee. It's the wrong side of the tee. Forehand by Alcaraz. Backhand by Steph. Forehand by Alcaraz again. Drop shot by Steph. Alcaraz just gets to it and drop shots it on the other side of Tsitsipas. It is Alcaraz. 2-love up now here at Philippe Chatier. It is now probably, and I know I'm preemptive from saying this, a matter of time when it comes to when this match will most likely end. It's from 15-love. What did I say? Oh, yes, Ranta said a comfy hold for Steph, or potential of a comfy hold, it looked like at 40-15. But of course, you cannot at any stage in the match rule out Alcaraz, and that's quite apparent with what we're seeing here. That is. Unfortunately for Shuri, we're coming up with a network connection again, but we can see that Alcaraz is serving at the moment. Goes down the tee, backhand, forehand by Alcaraz, backhand by Tsitsipas, forehand again, backhand by Tsitsipas. Oh. Just about long, backhand into the net by Stefanos Tsitsipas. 15-love to Alcaraz. 15-love to Alcaraz. Shiri, do we have you back?
Yep. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. That's perfect.
Awesome. Yeah,
you kind of broke up at the worst moment for both the viewers and also Tsitsipas as he went on a breakdown.
Yeah, is this barring? I would say the 2020 final. Is this the most one-sided Grand Slam match between 2 top players in a long time?
I think the last time I saw something this one-sided would have been the Madrid final from last year.
Oh, yeah.
That was more one-sided than this, as another brilliant drop shot by Alcaraz to make it 30-love on his own serve. I mean, he's racing at the moment to a 3-love lead. I mean, he's clearly got some sort of dinner date sorted around about the Eiffel Tower or on the or somewhere in the centre of Paris at the moment that he's got to get to, because he's racing to the finish line. So Alcaraz down the tee, Tsitsipas buries it into the net, making it 40-love. This stuff. Oh, I do. I mean, I know it's quite entertaining to make fun of it slightly, but I do feel for Steph at the moment. Really, I mean, you can tell that he's upset. You can tell that nothing's working, and you can tell that he's trying the same tactics over and over again. And Alcaraz is just seeing him off. Buries it into the net again by Steph. 3-love to Alcaraz here. You can tell that Alcaraz isn't really celebrating this as well, because even he can tell this is brutal. This really is brutal. What do you think, Sherry?
Yeah, well, beyond brutal, if there's a word for that. He's 3 games lost, and he's 3 games away from winning. That's nuts. I don't know what to say, really. Like, the best we can do is all about Alcaraz's performance. But yeah, I guess you got to feel for Steph here. It's just, it's not good, because where was the only time Steph was ahead in the scoreboard was when he won the first game.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
That was the only time he was ahead, and that was an hour ago.
Yeah,
and we're already in a situation where Tsitsipas is now, well, Alcaraz is now 3 games away from winning this. It's a best of 5-set match. I mean, this kind of leads on to, and as a general topic, the dominance that Alcaraz is showing on the stage, and how scary he is. Like, this is, Stefanos Tsitsipas. This isn't somebody who's ranked, 95 in the world and has just done really well to be able to get to a first or second round of a slam. This is somebody who's ranked 5 in the world, who is a multiple Masters champion, multiple tour winning champion, Grand Slam finalist on 2 occasions on 2 different surfaces. I mean, this guy is a brilliant tennis player, and he's been made to look like Alcaraz's mate he knocks around at the park every Sunday. I mean, that is that is what we're witnessing at the moment. That Alcaraz is just on another level, and the only person on this planet, on this surface, who could cope with him at the moment is Djokovic. And hopefully maybe next year Nadal, when he gets back to some sort of fitness, hopefully. But that is it. You feel for the scariness of the tour. Like, this is who they're having to compete up against. Somebody, a kid like Alcaraz, who is setting the world alight. Just setting the world alight. He's using Philippe Chatier at the moment as his stage to do that, like he did at Flushing Meadows on Arthur Ashe in December or September.
Dare I say this is far more impressive than that, which you should expect, but just the way, I mean, the players he's gotten and the way he's dealt with them, it's just unreal.
It is.
He's had Musetti, he's had Tsitsipas, 2 pretty good clay quarters.
I mean, Musetti was somebody that beat Alcaraz in the Hamburg final, not 8 months prior, and
also beat Djokovic at Monte Carlo.
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
I agree with John, and that's another thing. More than anything, I sympathize with Steph for is just the coaching situation. I just think the backseat driving from his parents just not helping whatsoever. He did have so many coaches come in and go. He had Enquist at some point. He had Philippos after. I think he had Patrick Mouratoglou as well, who parted ways with Steph earlier this year. None of this is helping, really. You don't rate room against Alcaraz, of course. It depends on the surface for me. I think on a faster court, I'm not sure about grass at the moment. I've not seen Holger on grass. I mean, Alcaraz just doesn't like grass as much at the moment. But on a faster court, I would like Holger's chances better. On clay, Holger can definitely keep up, but I just think Alcaraz is a lot more stable over a prolonged period of time. Probably too stable for a lot of the players. Holger Rune is just up, either hot or cold. There is just no balance for him. When he doesn't know what to do, he just belts the ball like what he did against Medvedev in that Rome final. He just absolutely starts belting the ball and see if something clips and if he's able to make inroads in the match. But that's just not how Carlos functions, really, because he's a lot more at the moment clear cut, more disciplined, clear cut in his game plan, more disciplined. So on clay and on slow courts, I would definitely take Alcaraz over Holger. But then on a faster court where you have the serves being rewarded coming into play, and much shorter rallies, points decided by much finer margins than on clay, then I would like Holger's chances there.
As we just see, yet again, a
40-50
thunderstruck the likes of the hammer of Thor coming down on the Greek god from one side of the court to another. I mean, that was epic. Another epic shot by Alcaraz. You must say, I think the easiest job in the world is probably being the tennis TV or the media officer who clips all the matches for whatever tournament when it comes to an Alcaraz match, because they're just all brilliant highlights.
I just scrolled up to one of Ghost's comments. Shriyari sounds like an 80s pop synth vocal solo. Am I supposed to take that as a compliment? I don't know. But that was long.
So Stefanos was able to at least hold his serve there.
That's it.
Alcaraz was able to hold his serve there. That is excellent. His 80s mic. Oh, you can see him celebrating, holding his serve to the crowd.
This is not going well when there's more discourse about my mic than this match.
I think the most tragic thing, and I hate to use that word of this, is the fact that Tsitsipas has just celebrated with the crowd for holding his serve.
Oh,
that's poor. That's really that is tragic.
That's gonna turn into a meme real quick. I'm just waiting.
The amount of players he's done that to this tournament. Shapovalov was a key one of that.
Yeah.
Down the tee by Alcaraz. Backhand by Tsitsipas. Just about keeps it in. Forehand by Tsitsipas. Backhand by Alcaraz. Forehand by Tsitsipas. But Alcaraz. Backhand to backhand exchange. Backhand by Alcaraz. Forehand by Tsitsipas. Backhand by Alcaraz. Tsitsipas goes wide. Weird attempt at a somewhat lob. I don't know what the hell that was by Alcaraz, but he doesn't win any points from it. 15-love to Stefanos.
First time it's love 15 on Alcaraz's serve since his opening service game in the match.
No, it's treasure it, people. Screenshot it, send it to your friends, your relatives, your loved ones, because it will never really be seen again, probably, in this match. Cross court, no luck there from Alcaraz. Cross court again, backhand, and then up to that point there, 15-all. 15-all there by Alcaraz. Excellent serve out wide, really shoving Tsitsipas out into the to the ether before coming back at a good rate there.
I don't know if anyone knows this, but in the 2008 final between Rafa and Roger, when Rafa won 6-1, 6-3, 6-love, did Federer break serve or have break points at all?
That is a good question. I have no idea.
Because so far, Okay, John says doesn't think so.
I think
So far, Tsitsipas
Well,
not had a break point.
we should hopefully have Nick coming on soon, so maybe he'll be able to answer that question. As he's
Yeah.
as he is the tennis scholar.
Okay, that's 30-15. Yeah, well, a best of 5 sets match on clay with a player not even having a break point. It's bizarre.
It is.
Oh no, I was mentioning the 2008 RG final, not the Wimbledon final.
So Alcaraz 15-30 up. Here, cross court, backhand by Steph, forehand by Alcaraz, forehand by Steph, forehand by Alcaraz, sticking in from side to side, goes for the drop shot, and Steph cannot reach it again. Yet another brilliant drop shot there by Alcaraz. 40-15 here. Looking to make it 4-1 here in the third set, and what will most likely be the last set here on Philippe Chatrier on this lovely Tuesday evening. Both in Paris. Here I am at home. Shiri, I don't know where you are, but hopefully it's lovely outside for you.
Oh, I'm in Dubai. Not very
You're
far off.
Okay, so it's always lovely there then.
Yeah. Just a couple of hours time zone wise behind ahead of Paris. 3 hours ahead of where you are.
It must be you must be in the middle of the night now for you.
Yeah, it's exactly 12 a.m. at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah, and 4-1 for Alcaraz. This is unreal.
I might as well ask, have you been to the Dubai duty-free tennis
Oh
championship?
yeah, I did. I went to the women's, I think, a couple of days of the men's as well.
Excellent. Who did you get to see?
I did. I was lucky enough to get pictures with Novak and Daniil. So yeah, I did see both of them. I saw Felix as well. Unfortunately, I saw Zverev. I saw Kokinakis. That's from the men's side. From the women's side, of course, I did see Sabalenka play Ostapenko. Iga Swiatek I think she won her match 6-1, 6-love or something like that. I'm not sure. I do remember she played Samsonova. That was not a close match at all. And I did watch Madison Keys against Azarenka. That was not a really long match.
So you got some pretty decent matches in there in the end.
Yeah. I mean, lucky enough, the women's this year obviously was a WTA 1000. So
because they've got the agreement with Doha, don't they, where they keep switching it between 500 and 1000s.
Yeah, every even year, I guess it's a WTA 1000 in Doha, and then every odd year it's a WTA 1000 here in Dubai.
Now I'm hoping to get to Dubai next year for the duty-free tennis championships because I've never been that far east.
Oh, that's nice.
That's my hope.
Definitely catch up there. You should have a good field for both the men's and the women's usually.
Yeah, just need to make sure.
Federer come quite a bit. He's I think 9-time champion, 8 or 9-time champion. Novak having won it 5 times. A lot of stuff. I think all of the big four have won Dubai here, along with the likes of Medvedev. Karatsev also won it a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's I don't know what. Yeah, the crowd is just so bored. They just want a match at the moment.
Right. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave, and luckily, Nick is going to take over my spot. Unfortunately, Nick, you're probably only going to be here for a little bit, so if you're on the meter, you're not going to get too much, unfortunately.
Shortest commentary stint of all time. But James, I've heard what you've been doing so far. Excellent job. Thank you so much for taking us through what seems to be a bit of a demolition job, really, and making it sound, well, as magical as Carlos is looking, really.
That's absolutely fine. I will leave you to it and hope we'll catch everyone again later on. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for joining, James. I'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you very much, James. Hello, Shrihari.
Nick, how's it going?
Not bad. I think we've been in a recording booth since we did the Popcorn Tennis podcast.
Yeah. It was, a week ago? Just over a week ago.
Yeah.
But I don't think at least before this match, I don't think we really I at least did not expect this one-sided of a contest, I should say. Look at Steph; he's just raising his arms after winning a point.
Yeah, wins the point.
4-1.
Which you know, he should be, because he worked that point really well and then finished it with a drop shot that even Carlos Alcaraz couldn't get to, because he'd pushed Alcaraz so far behind the baseline, moving around the court, that really, he should be proud of himself for winning that point. I mean, at the minute, he's just taking what he can get. I agree. I wasn't expecting it to be like only a handful of games in it. I thought we'd be looking at 6-3, 6-4s, still straight sets. But yeah, this is Carlos making the most of the matchup he has with Tsitsipas. Let's be honest.
Yep. I had this going 4 sets. I thought it could. Yeah, exactly. John has mentioned in the comments. I thought it would be a tough battle. Not sure what I was thinking there, but yeah. Well, I guess if this were an afternoon match, it would have Steph would have probably won more games. But this is just, the conditions are just so perfect, I would say, for Carlos. Kind of what we saw last year as well, when he had all of his matches in the evening, and then he plays Zverev in the afternoon, and sort of just, he's off place for like the first couple of sets, and obviously Zverev playing one of the matches of his life as well. But if this were a boxing match, the referee would have stopped it a while. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's the fortunate thing about tennis is no one looks bloodied. They just look a bit silly afterwards. Tsitsipas manages again to win the point by coming into the net and drop shotting Alcaraz, and actually manages to hold 4-2. So the set's not done yet. Alcaraz, I mean, I don't know. I don't think a comeback is happening, but he might be able to make this the longest set of the match. Maybe. We'd have to see how it goes. I mean, we talk about the conditions. It's very likely that Djokovic versus Alcaraz is going to be a night match. Yeah. Which, if it is, that given how Djokovic and Nadal went at night, I don't know. Actually, I was going to say last year Nadal had advantage, despite the fact he would have preferred playing in the warmer conditions. But actually, Djokovic got him in 21. So, yeah, I think these two under the lights in Paris, it's going to be incredible. Yep.
That's the kind of scenario we need. And one that we'll likely get as well. I do think, I mean, I've come around what you and Jack mentioned on our last episode. I like Novak's chances a lot more right now, so considering just seeing how he's played so far. And even today, like, Hachinov was playing, some lights out tennis, and he was able to problem solve his way through that match. And, once he was dialed in, it was just, there's no way for Hachinov to make any more inroads. And I obviously do expect him to bring his absolute A game against an opponent like Carlos, and in a stage like a Grand Slam semifinal. But that being said, that would be such an epic encounter.
Yeah, I think so too. It is the most anticipated match of 2023.
I mean, the fact that we only had one clash between these two, and then they've played in the same tournament only 5 times since, it's insane. So,
which 5 tournaments were those? Because obviously it hasn't happened this year yet.
This year, yeah, there was Rome and RG. Let's exclude RG this year. So there's Rome. That was the only tournament both of them played
in 2023.
Last year we had Wimbledon, Astana, Bercy, and RG, of course. So yeah, those are 5.
There you go. So yeah, this is a food option. Lovely. Lovely bit of drop shot. Alcaraz goes for the lob. Tsitsipas smashes it down, and it's 30-all. Yes, you might be slightly ahead of me. Okay.
I guess our streams are on sync. I was just looking at the score, and James was a bit ahead of me. So
okay.
I was just going, so I guess it's 30-all. This is Tsitsipas hasn't had a break point so far.
Okay. Have we had any games? We've had a few juice games. They've just been on Tsitsipas's serve.
Exactly.
I don't know. Is this the closest Alcaraz service game we've had this match?
Yep.
Okay, right. Let's talk us through it then. So Alcaraz is serving, goes for the body serve, but misses it, goes long. I'm just going to dust off the commentary muscles because I'm going to need them for later in the week. Alcaraz goes up the middle this time with the second serve. Tsitsipas runs around to hit the forehand. Alcaraz goes cross court with the forehand, pushing Tsitsipas way out of court. Tsitsipas tries to hook it cross court, puts it in the tram lines, 40-30.
Oh God. Okay, so it still hasn't seen a break point all match in a best of 5 set match on clay.
And he's the 5th best player in the world. And
yeah.
probably higher if you just look at clay.
It's true.
I was thinking that so far this year, given we've been making a fuss about on the women's side, 2023 being about a trio of players, a big three where you were of Swiatek, Sabalenka, Rybakina. 2023 has also been about 3 players: Djokovic, Alcaraz, Medvedev. Which is, I don't think it's talked about because obviously we're just coming off of the iconic big 3 in the men's game. But actually, maybe Tsitsipas is playing.
Brody.
Yeah, sure. Actually, we're back to Juice. Juice is Carlos Alcaraz service game, but Alcaraz makes an unreturnable serve to go to advantage.
Still hasn't faced a break point.
But there was a period of time where in the women's game, we were talking about Barbora Krejcikova as potentially being the 4th person because obviously of her result in
Has she won a match since? I don't know.
And then she's struggled since. And I think Tsitsipas, based on his Australia run, could be playing a similar role as someone who could claim to be the 4th person in the mix, but hasn't had the results to back it up. And then when he gets
to ace out wide from Alcaraz, yet to face a break point, is a game away. At the beginning of the match, I thought it would be tough. I thought Alcaraz wins in 4, something similar to how Nadal beat Djokovic last year in 4 sets. And John obviously mentioned that if Steph wins at least 15 games, then I would be vindicated. But he's won a third of that. And Alcaraz is a game away from.
He might be able to make it. What would it be? Like 2/5 of that, 40% of that, because he's serving next.
Yeah. The only prediction I would get right if it happens is, James asked me what my prediction for this set would be. I had Alcaraz winning 6-3. Steph managed to win a couple of games this set, but you do wonder if he should have. There's some game, especially his opening service game, 40-15 up. He shouldn't have gotten broken. But yeah, he's just been thoroughly outmatched.
I do you see what you mean there, John? I think the Sinner match, the matchup does favor Tsitsipas, but I would say that Sinner seems to be turning that around at the minute, and he came very, very close to doing that in that match. I think he did it the next time they played, not long later. So Sinner could have won that match. I think that was a legitimately tough one for him, and I don't think the matchup played that much of a role in it. So
how has Tsitsipas lost that point?
Because I don't know, because he put an overhead into the net. Yeah, the defense there from Carlos. That's exactly how Tsitsipas lost the point.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, it was a serve out wide, and then the forehand inside out, regulation. And then Alcaraz gets it back, and then obviously Tsitsipas lets it bounce for a smash, and then he nets the smash. That's happened quite a bit. I guess something to do with the balls and the bounce on this court. There's a lot of players missing that particular smash. We saw Dimitrov do it a bunch yesterday.
Alcaraz absorbing a powerful inside out from Tsitsipas and neutralizing the rally, and now just bossing at the minute, going backhand to backhand. Carlos Alcaraz drop shot, and Tsitsipas cannot run to it. It's love 30. Alcaraz is 2 points away from winning the match.
Yep.
I've been on air for about 12, 13 minutes. This may well be a record for talking tennis. I don't know if John's keeping track of this. Maybe only beaten by John's attempt to commentate on Swiatek Serenko yesterday.
Look at, the balls have fluffed up so much, and I don't think it's been too long since we got new balls. They just showed a close-up of a ball rolling away after Alcaraz plays that drop shot.
Is that something that's been happening a lot over the tournament? Alcaraz drags the ball wide on the forehand.
Yeah, I mean, that's one complaint the likes of Medvedev and Fritz had. It's just that they fluff up a game or two after they're being used, and you need a lot more power to you need to generate a lot more power to get the ball across, so like to try to strike winners. So obviously Alcaraz is utilizing that drop shot so well. He's also
we're on match point. We're on match point.
Tsitsipas
puts the forehand into the high part of the net. It's 15-40, 2 match points to be precise. Thank you, John. Sorry to interrupt you there, Shrihari. Might be worth discussing the balls further on in Roland Garros, but here we go. Alcaraz bouncing on his feet, ready to receive. Trying to close this out in, I don't know if it's record time, but it feels like it to us. Tsitsipas gets the first serve in, and Alcaraz can't get it back in court, and Tsitsipas saves the first match point with a brilliant serve. What have we got for the second one? Tsitsipas has got to he's trying to, I'd say, save his dignity by not being broken in the last game of this match, and there's records here to be broken. I mean, we're talking about the comparisons to the 2008 Roland Garros final. I don't know whether that would make it like the shortest match or whether it's just because it was a stupidly, unexpectedly quick match. Alcaraz gets that backhand return to play. They're going cross court. Steph changing the direction of forehand. Alcaraz gets it back with his forehand. Steph goes cross court on the backhand. Alcaraz still runs it down somehow. Steph's got the overhead. Alcaraz backhand lob wide. Oh, it was so close to the line. That could have been an absolute genius way to convert the match, but it wasn't, and it's juice.
The fist bump from Tsitsipas, interesting. I'm just opening Twitter for the first time. The tweets are interesting, to say the least.
The tweets are always interesting, Shrihari. Be specific.
And then the way they're blowing up, here's one tweet. Federer and Wawrinka have blood on their hands for influencing an entire generation of kids to use a one-handed backhand. There's one. Another one, the most embarrassing performance from a top player in a long time. One of the most embarrassing performances. Here are some ways Tsitsipas can turn this around. Alcaraz injury. Alcaraz sniped from the stands. Alcaraz hit by meteorite. Alcaraz struck by lightning bolt. Tsitsipas bitten by radioactive insect and swiftly developing superpowers.
I mean, even then, that if you look at the history of it, I'm pretty sure Spider-Man's powers only developed overnight. So I don't think Tsitsipas has got that long. But he does have an advantage in this game. He manages to outlast Alcaraz in another rally. So he's got the opportunity to extend this and make sure that he isn't beaten quicker than Roger Federer was in 2008. I think, to be honest, I mean, like much as someone is criticizing the use of the one-handed backhand, the reality is that the one-handed backhand is a great choice of weaponry. It's just that Steph doesn't make as good a use of it compared to
I do agree with
Federer
that. You have players deploying it well. It's drop shot into the net and Steph holds.
I mean, who would you say has got the better one-handed backhand, Tsitsipas or Musetti?
Musetti, of course. I mean, for Musetti, it's probably his best shot. Better than the forehand even. Although forehand is improved considerably. At the moment, he's sort of similar-ish to Gasquet. I mean, Gasquet's backhand was also a weapon. I would also take Shapovalov's backhand when on, of course, to someone like Tsitsipas's team. Another one with a pretty good backhand. But then, thing is, with the return, they just jammed up. I think Federer was, of all of the single-handers, Federer was by far the best returner because he found a way to sort of neutralize so many big, massive servers like the likes of Karlovic, Kyrgios, Isner, you name it, Raonic. He was just able to with that chip return. I don't see anybody using a backhand chip return. Not even Wawrinka. I mean, Wawrinka is also someone who you can easily jam him up on the return, be it forehand or backhand.
And Andy Roddick, one of the biggest servers of all time.
Andy Roddick. Yeah, of course. I knew I was missing out somebody. And 21-3 against
those,
like
and like he just constantly neutralized him anywhere except in Miami because for some reason Roddick always beat him when they played in Miami.
Yeah. There was a wild miss from Alcaraz.
The nerves can't be hitting, surely. The nerves can't be hitting, surely. But it's 15 all. Let's see what can happen. I mean, this would be possibly the most insane comeback of all time if it were to happen. But, it's not out of possibility yet. But Alcaraz is 3 points away from a place in the Roland Garros semi-finals. Incredibly, would only be his second major singles semi-final of his career after US Open last year. And he's the world number one. This is absolutely incredible. He's missed the first serve. So we'll see what he can produce with the second. Lifts it up, goes down the middle, Tsitsipas blocks it back into play. Alcaraz unleashes on the inside, forehand, misses it. He's missed it. It's 15-30. Like he was going for the haymaker, didn't quite get it right, and loops it into the tram lines. Let's see what we got now. Alcaraz stepping up to serve 15-30.
This is sort of out of nowhere, but understandable nonetheless.
It's definitely Alcaraz's level dipping. This match has been entirely on Alcaraz's racket.
Yep.
Completely. Alcaraz gets the first serve in, but he puts it in the middle of the box. Tsitsipas loops the backhand up. They're going backhand to backhand. It's very loopy at the minute. Alcaraz attacks on the forehand. He tries to go up the line, misses. It's over the baseline. Stefanos Tsitsipas is shaking his racket. That was another weird
first time in the entire match he has a break point.
it's like should be the last game.
Exact comeback incoming. Who knows?
Oh no. Okay, maybe I'm here for the next 2 hours, guys. We spoke too soon.
6 out of 11 for Alcaraz on break points. 0 of 0 for Tsitsipas.
Alcaraz, I think that was a let because that looked like it was in. And the way it bounced, the way the trajectory was, it was definitely caught the net. So it's a let on the first serve. Alcaraz goes up the middle. Again, Tsitsipas gets it back into play. Forehand Alcaraz up line. Backhand Tsitsipas. Bit wild. I don't think the ball's come down yet. There we go. It's out. Like, I think that was the weirdest shanked backhand I've ever seen from Stefanos Tsitsipas because it looked like
there were quite a few ones in 2019 where he shanks it and he sort of jumps and he falls. So I don't know if it's the weirdest from him, but it's wild nonetheless.
It's I think it's an odd moment because like it looked like it was going to be a regular shot and then was like, where did the ball go? Where did the ball go? Right. Second break point. Carlos Alcaraz goes out wide on the first serve. But that doesn't count. So he's got to try again.
Another let.
Another let. Yeah. Still a little bit of tightness in the Alcaraz. 1 hour 50. We're definitely going to be longer than Roland Garros 2008 final. Alcaraz comes into the net, looks at the backhand. Steph runs it down, puts it in the net.
Oh.
No, Alcaraz, it was wide.
It was wide.
Yeah. The ball, the Alcaraz coming into the net on the drop shot, the ball was wide into the tram lines.
Yep.
And Alcaraz is broken.
Wow.
Alcaraz has been broken for the first time in the match. And Tsitsipas is serving now to extend the match.
This has come out of nowhere.
That was Alcaraz losing concentration, right? That was Alcaraz getting nervous.
Yep.
100%.
Mind you, he had a couple of match points at 5-2.
There you go. The fearlessness of youth seems to be deserting him at age 20.
Oh my God. Okay. This is sort of now taking me back to the 2020 semifinal where Novak was serving for the match. Third set 5-4, 6-3, 6-2, 5-4, and then Steph extended it to 5 sets from there.
Oh, is that? Do you know what? I completely forgot that happened. Like, I watched that match. I remember it going 5. I forgot Djokovic served for it in the third.
And had a match point. So, yeah.
No.
That cannot happen again. But who knows, right?
Surely.
Who knows? Surely not, but you just never know. This sport is insane. It's gotten insane. And I would trace it back all the way to the 2020 US Open final. Since then, you've seen the most ridiculous of comebacks from certain score lines. Like you would never imagine, really.
I mean, I think 2020 US Open final might be a stretch because I always felt like Thiem was coming back. If he switched it, when he switched it on, we knew he was going to come back. And third and fourth sets, it was pretty clear. Yes, Zverev was up in the fifth, late in the fifth.
2 sets and a break up. You don't normally lose a Grand Slam final from there. So, like, I think...
no, you can say the same to Daniel Medvedev, right?
Sorry?
You could say the same to Daniel Medvedev, right?
Sort of, yeah. For sure.
22.
For sure. He should have killed it off right there. I think that's something that happened in his first round match also, because Zybochwilj, or however you pronounce his name, I'm not concerned. When he was sort of dying down, that's when Medvedev should have gone for the kill, but then he ended up gifting him breaks, one after the other. So yeah, that's something that's sort of haunting him even now. Okay, Steph recovers from the
serve. Yeah, 15 all. Alcaraz got a very good first point, but Steph serving well and maybe getting a little bit of confidence there. Alcaraz gets that ball back in play though, then drop. Oh no, he doesn't because it was called out, but it was a late call. It's 30-15.
Okay, this is interesting. If Steph can hold here, can he sneak a set?
John, as someone who grew up in the UK, are you saying that German trains are worse than or just as bad as British ones? Okay, we have confirmation. I'm surprised because of all the stereotypes, but then actually no, I was speaking to someone from Germany before, and actually they were saying something very similar. Puts the seven to the middle of the box, then goes inside out the forehand, backhand from Alcaraz, the backhand of Tsitsipas. Alcaraz goes for the drop shot again. Tsitsipas is going to get to it, scoops it up, but puts it in the net. 30 all, and Alcaraz is 2 points away from the title. Not the title. That was
You've gotten so far.
that's it. He's going to steamroll Novak Djokovic. He's going to steamroll whoever gets to the final. He's may as well hand him the trophy now. No. I mean, let's face it, playing Novak Djokovic on Philippe Chatrier has got to be one of the biggest moments. It will probably be up there with the biggest moments of his career, provided he can get the job done. Stefanos Tsitsipas serves long. Second serve. What are we going to get with Stefanos Tsitsipas? He goes mid-box. Alcaraz, short return. Tsitsipas backhand. Alcaraz goes up the line with his backhand. Match point.
Again.
30-40, backhand winner from Carlos Alcaraz. Lots of encouragement there from Juan Carlos Ferrero, saying he's doing well, he's got this. He held up like 5 fingers. I don't know what that would mean. I'm not into all the coaching signals for Carlos Alcaraz, but let's see what this means. Stefanos Tsitsipas is yet again match point down. He serves off the top of the net. It's a let. It's a very, very limp let, but it is a let.
Yep.
So whole thing resets. The crowd's probably excited. I don't know. The sound is off on my television. Stefanos Tsitsipas serves out wide. Alcaraz gets the ball out. Yeah, it was unreturnable. Too good on the serve. Deuce. Well saved again from Stefanos Tsitsipas. And it has to be said, of the match points we've seen so far, Stefanos Tsitsipas has saved them. They have been on his racket more than Alcaraz has flunked it, I would say. I think we might have lost Shuri there. Okay, Tsitsipas is now at advantage, and will be is about to come out to serve to make it 5 all. They've got a stat on the screen to do with percentages. Tsitsipas serves out wide. Alcaraz gets it back into play, but it's long. No, it's long. The return from Alcaraz is long. He was going for it on the return, and Stefanos Tsitsipas fist bumps because he is now at 5 games all in the third set. This set is now 49 minutes. It's what, considering the other 2 sets were 68 minutes. We're almost at like 2/3 the length of the other 2 sets combined. It is game on. It's set on. Where are we going now? This is bonkers. Loving life right now. I bet you the crowd are also loving life. And hopefully Shrihari is loving life wherever he has been disappeared off to. Hopefully he will be back once he is finishing listening to 80s synth pop. That's a great serve from Alcaraz. Already getting into 15 love. I believe it's an ace. So we're going to be going to Carlos Alcaraz 15 love. Yeah. Oh gosh, so much drama late on. This is what the crowd came for. Because I was about to quit that the crowd got way better value for money watching Stevens against Sabalenka than they got for this match. I think it's probably about parity now. But let's see what happens. Alcaraz serves. Backhand in play from Tsitsipas. Inside out forehands. Tsitsipas manages to get it back. Carlos counter drop shots. Tsitsipas comes in, goes cross court. It's cat and mouse. Carlos Alcaraz passing shot forehand. Everyone's on their feet with that, and he's vamosing to the crowd. He does it a couple of times. He's punching the air. That was a Carlos Alcaraz classic passing shot. 40 love. Brilliant job from Carlos Alcaraz. Oh, what a rally, though. Like, Tsitsipas could have won that point. Like, he was putting it out of court, and in the end, Alcaraz sort of having to run kind of behind to pick up the ball, and he gets it. So this is a great opportunity right now for Carlos Alcaraz, who puts the game away 6-5 and dismisses that poor game from earlier, where he did definitely dip and allow Tsitsipas back in the match. We're at now 1 hour and 59 minutes. This is going to be entertaining. We're going to a change of ends, and this next game will either be the last game of the match or will send us into a tie break. What do you think is going to happen, chat? I know there's about 16 of you watching, and you're all very, very excited to see what will happen next, as is Shrihari, who is also very excited what happened next. So,
right, I'm back. Yeah, well, I was having some technical issues, just couldn't join for that 5-all game. But yeah, I mean, I didn't expect this, especially after most of the match. I would say 2 match points at 5-2. We thought, okay, it's just a matter of time. Steph, I think, saved 3 or 4 match points so far.
3.
So yeah, 3, right?
3.
You just never know, right? If he manages to hold here, the tiebreaker is still up in the air, and we have a match. But Carlos obviously is definitely going to go for the kill at the moment.
Yeah, and you could see, like, in that last game, like, he ruthlessly put that service game away to love.
Yep, he did. That's, I guess, champions mentality. But yeah, let's see what happens.
And let's not forget that Carlos Alcaraz is a major champion, and Tsitsipas is a Monte Carlo champion. Actually, yeah, is he? How many is it? 4 Masters 1000s Alcaraz has won.
4, yes. 2 on clay, and then 2 on hard courts.
Yeah, so he's already won double the amount of Masters 1000s of Stefanos Tsitsipas.
Yep, both of them have 2 big titles on clay, though. Tsitsipas is a finalist here at RG.
Yeah.
Alcaraz yet to make it past
the quarterfinals.
I say yet because it's going to happen at some point.
It might even happen tonight.
Moment's time as well. Yeah, exactly. We expected it to have already happened. But here
we thought it would. We thought it was going to happen 15 minutes ago. This is very useful. So Tsitsipas is 15 love up. Again, controlled the opening point really well. He's now about to serve for the second point. Goes out wide. Alcaraz gets the backhand cross court into play. Tsitsipas decides to drop shot him. Alcaraz is in. He's going to run it down. Tsitsipas lobs. Alcaraz runs back. He's going to pick it up. Fires it at Tsitsipas. He puts it in the net. 15 all. Like, that forehand was right at Tsitsipas, forcing him to kind of panic. And he just puts the backhand volley into the net. And Alcaraz raises his fist. He's coming for this game.
There next to, in his box, next to Juan Carlos Ferrer. I'm not sure who that is, but he just stood up, raising his fist as well, egging on Carlos.
unreturnable serve from Tsitsipas to move to 30-15. 2 points from a tiebreak here. Alcaraz looking a little frustrated. He didn't quite get the contact on the return that he wanted. What's Tsitsipas got? Let's see what he's going to do. Is he going to bring this game home? He's 2 points away from it. Goes out wide with the serve. Backhand and play from Alcaraz. Tsitsipas goes cross-court with his own backhand. And Alcaraz almost goes over. And then Tsitsipas goes back behind him with the forehand coming in. 40-15. Great point from Tsitsipas. Definitely got Alcaraz off balance and out of position.
This is good stuff.
Yeah. Is this the best Tsitsipas has played all match?
Yeah, for sure. Aided by the fact, of course, that Carlos played a few loose shots. But I mean, you got it. You got to take advantage of what you get, right? So much rather this than a 6-2, 6-1, 6-2 defeat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's definitely rescued it for him. If you went to this best of three, this would have been a 6-2, 6-1. As Alcaraz loops up a backhand, Tsitsipas finishes off with a forehand. Alcaraz is claiming that last shot from Tsitsipas is wide. Umpire's coming down to check. Alcaraz says, don't bother. It was definitely in. And Tsitsipas gets the game. We are in a tiebreak.
Wow. Third set tiebreaker.
Chat, tell us. What do you think? Which way is this tiebreak going to go? Is Alcaraz going to finish it, or is Tsitsipas going to snatch this set? Srihari, what do you think?
As much as I want this match to extend, or Ghost wanted a 6-2, 6-1, 6-2. I think Alcaraz takes this tiebreaker.
Okay. I think Tsitsipas takes the tiebreaker. I think I'm in the mood for craziness. I'm in the mood for an upset. Let's see him snatch this tiebreaker. Tsitsipas goes up the line with his backhand, sets up Alcaraz on the forehand, who loops it up. Now Tsitsipas backhand goes cross court. Alcaraz again runs around to the inside out forehand. Tsitsipas high and long from the backhand. Again, just being peppered by the Alcaraz forehand. 1-0 Alcaraz. Great start for the Spaniard, who just does a shadow swing on the backhand single-handed. And he's geeing himself on, vamosing to himself. Ferreira's clearly giving in some instructions. Okay, Ghost is going for Alcaraz to finish it. Tsitsipas is getting ready to serve, goes into the net on the first serve. That's not how we wanted, because he was serving pretty well his last couple of service games. Wow, his last service game anyway. Dug himself out of trouble in the 2 service games before that. Second serve goes out wide. Alcaraz goes for he was going for the return winner and puts it in the tram lines. That was a little ambitious. We know Alcaraz can pull it off, but just couldn't quite execute on it. 1-1. Tsitsipas again now serving it 1-1, trying to give himself a little bit edge in the tiebreak. Goes up the middle with the first serve. It's in. Backhand Tsitsipas. The Alcaraz forehand has run around it. Goes for the forehand winner. That's a classic Alcaraz run around forehand up the line.
Wow.
And it's 2-1. Yeah, that was great.
Yep.
That's 2-1 to Carlos Alcaraz. Yeah, that's a classic moment. He just runs around, hits the forehand winner. Nothing Tsitsipas can do for it. And that's his 19th forehand winner of the match compared to 8 for Tsitsipas. 2-1 Alcaraz in this tiebreak. Maybe now he's going to finish it. Puts the first serve into the net, though. We know how when he was close to finishing it before, he got tight. He's 4 points away. No, he's not. He's 5 points away.
It may help if the match point. I mean, that has been the case so far. If the match points on Tsitsipas's racket, then maybe he won't hold back as much. 3-1. Okay.
You would have thought that in the in Tsitsipas's service games, though. Good kick a second serve from Alcaraz, which made it very difficult for Tsitsipas to pick up on the backhand side. And he's definitely went on the very clear pattern that Alcaraz when serving into the ad court is going to the Tsitsipas backhand. Goes kind of body serve with that one, and again Tsitsipas backhand is looped up and long, and it's 4-1. He's definitely going for that Tsitsipas backhand. It's clear pattern of play here. 3
points away again.
He's been 1 point away 3 times, at least. Tsitsipas is now coming out to serve. He's going to try and see if he can keep pace in this tiebreak. Still bouncing the
And
ball.
if Carlos does win this tiebreaker, it's probably the most temporary consolation for Tsitsipas. Sure, he won. Let's put it this way: 5 of the last 7 games, but
Yeah, that's fair. That's
not
fair.
5. Sorry, 4 of the last 7.
Yeah. Oh, big
Four
serve
plus
out wide from Tsitsipas, who then finishes it with a +1 at the net. Great job from Tsitsipas. 4-2. They're changing ends. That was a very positive point from the Greek.
It was. Is there another twist, like how the commentators love to say?
It's
Do we have another twist here?
I mean, it's a classic line, and I've got no problem with that. I may well have used it in my own commentary at some point.
Right.
Carlos is now having. Carlos is waiting for Tsitsipas to walk past him before they run to their various change of ends. Tsitsipas setting himself up and getting ready. Tension in the Alcaraz box. Ferrero is sticking his tongue in multiple directions, not at the same time. That would be weird. I'm not accusing of Juan Carlos Ferrero of being a lizard. That would be some Scientology stuff right there. Tsitsipas goes out wide with the first serve. Alcaraz loops. Oh, he was trying to go for the passing shot return winner and then ended up just getting it long. 4-3 Alcaraz.
4-3. So Steph wins both the points on his serve. Pressure is back on Alcaraz to win the next 2, or at least one of the next 2.
Yeah, this Alcaraz this tiebreak could be a microcosm of the set at this rate.
Yeah. I mean, if Steph wins this set, then somehow my initial prediction would be rendered correct. Somehow. But I mean, I don't know. But
Alcaraz goes out wide again. Tsitsipas loops up the backhand. Alcaraz finishes it with a forehand, mid-court. Job done. 5-3.
That was a bit awkward because he went back a little bit for the ball to drop lower. Still took it on the drive volley.
Little bit of a stat for you. It's now 2 hours 9 on the clock. This set has taken a minute longer than the previous 2 sets combined.
Right.
That is how competitive this set is. Do you know what? I'm quite glad I came on this because I clearly came in for the most meaningful set of the match.
Yeah. Meaningful the juncture, mind you. Is that?
No, he missed it. Alcaraz is serving again.
Yeah.
5-3. I think this is a second serve. Goes up the middle. Tsitsipas blocks it back into play. Forehand to the Tsitsipas backhand. Alcaraz has time on his forehand. Oh, he's playing with the lines though. Going inside out. Tsitsipas changes direction, going up the lines. Alcaraz goes really great cross-court direction. I don't know how Tsitsipas is running this down, but he can't quite make contact on that one. And Alcaraz has 3 match points at 6-3, and we get another Vamos and another fist pump. There were a number of points I was like, Alcaraz surely hit a winner there because the way he was dragging Tsitsipas out of court, working the angles and bludgeoning him with the forehand, and it just it took longer for Tsitsipas to break down than maybe Alcaraz anticipated. We yet again have match point 6-3 to Carlos Alcaraz. It'll be 2 serves on the Tsitsipas, and then he's got 1 on his own if he needs it. Tsitsipas puts the first serve into the net, though. Into the net. 197 kilometers per hour first serve, maybe slightly off. Second serve in play. Bounces up for Alcaraz on the backhand. Tsitsipas goes up the line on his backhand. Alcaraz tries to chase it down, but can't get it over the net. And Tsitsipas saves another match point, and it's 6-4. That was a ripper backhand up the line. Or an attempt at it that Alcaraz couldn't quite run down.
You can see Juan Carlos Ferrero getting a little worked up for the very first time.
I think he's been worked up for a bit since Tsitsipas. Oh, unreturnable serve from Tsitsipas. It's 6-5, and it's another match point saved. But now, for the first time in the match, we have a match point on the Carlos Alcaraz serve.
Yep.
Surely this one's going to be different, right?
Sure, it should be. You just never know. I mean, loose serve or just doesn't do much with it. I mean, Tsitsipas not the best returner out there, but
All right, we'll have to see how it goes. Here we go. Carlos Alcaraz serves out wide, gets in and comes into serve and volley behind it, scoops up the forehand. Tsitsipas goes for the backhand passing shot, but it's not enough. Alcaraz covers it off at the nets. He celebrates. Carlos Alcaraz
Finally.
Roland Garros semi-final. They are embracing it at the net. They're having a good laugh. Good camaraderie there. Maybe enjoying the competitiveness of the third set. But Alcaraz has set up. He's through.
The blockbuster.
Here we go.
That we all wanted.
Match of the year is happening on Friday, folks. Don't miss it.
Yep.
I have a tweet prepared. I'm sending it now.
While I'm still battling to get my old account back. But anyway, that was fun. I'm glad we had that set. Thanks for joining on, Nick, when you could. It was the most eventful juncture of the match. Of course, we saw some pretty electric tennis from both players, and of course, Carlos Alcaraz to the semi-final, the match you're all waiting for, which hopefully again would be under the lights because that's just the setting it deserves. And I mean, we'll see. I'll see you soon.
I mean, selfishly, so do I, because I'm commentating on the second men's semi-final. So, I'm well up for the idea of doing Alcaraz versus Djokovic. Hopefully, Ghost calms down on it.
Hopefully that's another 4-hour-ish clash. Right?
Oh my word! I'll make sure I have plenty of water for that one.
Yeah. All right. Then.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
Thanks
for everyone else for joining on. And we'll see you soon.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Yep.
Oh, still here. And don't forget to join us.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.